Hello, everyone, and welcome to So Many Levels. We're gonna play some Dungeons and Dragons.
Yay!
I am Christiana Ellis. I'm the Dungeon Master. Tonight we have our players: Mark as Alaric, the Dwarf Fighter;
Good evening.
Starla as Nira, the Elf Cleric;
Greetings and salutations.
Chooch as Otterkey, the Tiefling Paladin.
Oh,
And sadly, we are lacking our Viv this evening to play Amethyst, the Human Druid, but Amethyst is still around. So, apologies for those live viewers that we're getting started a little bit later than originally planned, but that's okay, because now we're going to play Dungeons and Dragons for you guys. So, last week, we had a little bit of a special diversion where we had an all kobolds infiltration party scouting in the crazy town of Elamantia following this defeat of the spirit of Lake Elamon. But the last time we were with the Heroes of Legend, you were all forced to flee the region that you had previously been in order to escape the prying eyes and magical divination of the archfey that pursues you all. And so your wizard friend Melicanth teleported you all halfway across the world and cast non-detection spells on you. She brought you to where she brought you in order to hopefully have an old friend make some non-detection charms for you out of the flail snail shell that you had previously harvested. Turns out the old friendship, specifically this enchanter, a dragonborn named who goes by Carrot, is the daughter of an old adventuring friend of Melicanth's. It turns out that there is still affection after all of these years, but it's still a business, and so in exchange for making these charms and handing over some of the old party's magic items, she wanted a whole lot of gold for it. And because you guys didn't have the cash on hand exactly, you took on a deal where you're going to deliver a giant-sized immovable rod to the stone giants who, for some reason, have cut off their normal communication. And before doing that, you need to wait for these charms to be ready. So you have kind of a day to hang out. And so the son of this couple named Carrot and Stick that run this enchanting business, they have a son, another dragonborn named Doak, who is managed to wiggle his way onto your party for this delivery mission because he can actually speak giant. And now he's excited to show you around his town, which is the nearby city of Ushbithra, which translates to Oasis of the Plains. So you guys made your plan, but that means that you have some time to kill until the following morning when your charms will be ready.
right.
So it's now about maybe 11 a.m. where you are. Feels a little bit later than that for you guys because you teleported a large distance west. Jet lag. Teleport lag.
Thought we were going to head into town.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we were headed that way, right?
I think
Yeah.
Doak wanted to show us the town. Maybe meet up with Deke, too? Something like that.
Deke was the name of the delivery guy that last tried to go find out what was going on with the stone giants and didn't come back.
Oh, right. Okay.
So Doak wants to find Deke.
Right.
And that's part of why he wanted to go on this mission. But yeah, that's who Deke is. But in the meantime, you've got a very bright-eyed, young gold dragonborn man eager to show you around his hometown. He thinks you guys are very cool.
So I forget, did he tell us like what his specialty is? Was he a enchanter or?
He said what he said told you so far is that he can do magic. He showed you a little bit of a trick with a candle flame,
Okay.
but said that he can do it for fighting too. He knows fighting magic too. Is what he said.
Did we have a rest in here at all, or
Not yet,
okay? Just want to make sure I didn't miss something.
Yeah,
but you guys
yeah.
could take one if you wanted. Because I mean, you had just finished a long rest before your big demon fights.
Right.
So it's still pretty early in the day, but you guys have actually been through a fair amount of fighting already since you last had a rest.
Yeah, I think I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm not down any, but I've got some spell slots missing, but that's fine. We're good.
Is Drokara is the Ushbithra? I asked Drokara. Is that a dangerous town?
Well,
Could we be worried?
it's. I mean, if you know how to handle yourself, I mean, you guys seem tough. I don't think it'll be a problem unless you just start picking fights with everybody. But I mean, you have to be on your guard. There's not, there's not lawmen or Crown's Guard or whatever just on every corner.
But it's not inherently dangerous on its own.
No, everybody kind of takes care of yourself, because if someone's kind of too much of a hassle, usually other people are gonna let them know that's a problem.
All right,
So
Drokara.
everyone
you're
kind of, you've done it a couple of times. I go by Doke. I mean, it's it's not a big deal, but it's kind of, I'm trying to make it stick.
It's just a name. It's your name. You should be proud of it.
Yeah, okay.
While you can be proud of your name, you can't then change it. Trust me.
Why can't I be proud of the one that I picked?
That one too. But the one picked for you was chosen for you by people that care.
Yeah, people that also don't go by their real names.
That's true.
Ooh.
I think that's more of a marketing thing, actually. So what do you recommend, Doke, for this town? What should we see first?
Well, I mean, I don't know if you guys are in a shopping mood or if you just want to hang out somewhere. I mean, it's a little early to hit the taverns, but I know a couple good ones, right? So,
Are you old enough to know the taverns?
yeah, sure. I go to taverns all the time.
Well, we do have this leather that I've been meaning to. I could really use some new armor.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's someone in town, I don't know if you have if there's more than one, if you have one that you would recommend.
Oh, well, if you're looking for leather stuff, Scritcher runs the hide and seek. And I think that's who you go to if you want leather armor, for sure. So I can take you there.
That
And,
sounds good.
Autarky, I didn't mean to, presume earlier when I said that about your armor. It's just
Oh, yeah.
if I didn't know better, I'd think that you dropped your armor down a hole and then kept it at the bottom of a lake for a week and then just didn't take care of it at all. But maybe
Mostly the
that's
smell.
what you want it to look like. So I didn't want to.
No, it's
It's been a rough week.
Actually, a
accurate.
pretty accurate description of what
Yeah.
it's been like, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
It could definitely use a tune-up.
Well, because the steel tusk is where they do, weaponry and metal armor. It's not really
Excellent.
something I need as much. I know it's too heavy for me. But that's actually just right across the street from hide and seek, so I could take you guys there if you want.
Excellent, yeah.
Sure.
Appreciate that.
Okay, cool. All right, so come on this way. And he kind of you realize there's no real road. It's just kind of a dirt path that he's just leading you on. That's kind of, you see the town in the distance. Is about a 10-minute walk to really start getting to where the buildings are. And as you're getting a little closer, he just says, he kind of turns over his shoulder while he's walking. So I know my way around, so you guys just kind of, stay close to me. People are gonna they're gonna peg you as like newcomers right away. So just try to, don't look like a mark if you follow me. Like, there's a lot of people around. They're always looking to, get something over on everybody, and it's kind of like if you just project an air of how to handle yourself, people will leave you alone.
Sure.
Flick the collar of my old cloak and have it turn into something like an average but good quality cloak.
Yeah,
Maybe blue with.
I like that
green
one.
trim.
Those cloaks are cool. I just, so they're affordable, right? Like you don't have to have one of the thousands and thousands of gold. Like, I mean, I don't know, it doesn't work. It's not for combat, but like, it's just you change up the way you look anytime you want. I think that's great.
Trust me, kid. I've been looking for a good cloak for a while. I've tried on several so far. There was that Kuatoan cloak that really didn't work, and a couple of others before that. I think there was a cultist cloak.
Kuatoan? What is that?
Well, remember when we said we were actually under the water for about a week? Well, that's a kind of an underwater fish person.
Wow.
And I speak to him in Kuatoan because we can do that now. I just simply say, he's a nice kid, so the rest of them will know what I mean.
And Dope kind of just blinks at you and kind of says, what I just got was a lot of blah, 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 blah.
That's what they sound like to people who don't know.
Okay.
They're pretty nice. A lot of storytelling. They're kind of brave.
Cool.
They are small but mighty.
Yeah.
Nice. We don't have a lot of small races here. I mean, you guys out in the east, you have lots of gnomes and halflings, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, not so many out here. Kind of rare, actually.
Wonder why. Big mountain in the middle, maybe. Hard to climb.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we got all kinds of races around here. I mean, it's not like there's none. I just mean in terms of, I don't know, percentages. You guys have lots out there, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fairly even distribution, feels like. I mean, the dwarves, they stick to their mountain homes a lot, but yeah, halflings, there seems to be quite a few.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'm just saying, here, I don't know, it's maybe, 1%, if that. But I mean, that's just here in town. I mean, I don't know if they have halfling towns elsewhere, but here we mostly got we got dragonborn, tieflings, we got a bunch of orcs and half orcs, we got some genasi. We have elves, humans, dwarves, here and there, some gnomes, but not as many.
Genasi, I'm not familiar with that one.
Oh, they're how do you explain it? It's kind of they're sort of a magic race. The genes come from, at some point, elemental spirits mixed with mortal people, and sometimes you don't need to have it doesn't literally mean your dad was an earth genie or something like that. It just means that the genes are somewhere in your lineage. Just being a tiefling doesn't mean your dad was the devil, right? I mean, so, and it my mom was another dragonborn, not a dragon, right? So it's the same thing.
So genes, is that the collective noun for Genasi? For a bunch of Genasi is a genes?
What? Don't they teach you, Genasi genetics out east?
Not so much.
But yeah, so in any case, though, yeah, I mean, we got all kinds here. So no one's going to bat an eye at any of you guys. I'm just saying. But again, people are going to know you're not from around here. It's just you can.
Not any different than any other day. Sounds great.
For some folks, at least.
So as you're getting closer into town, you see that there's far fewer buildings of old permanent construction compared to, say, Villanocta or even Gorin. Everything looks a lot more, not improvised, but just like built in a hurry and maybe occasionally demolished and rebuilt, and everything's kind of a little bit more ramshackle compared to some of the towns and cities you're more familiar with that are like obviously built to last. And so no like walls around the town or anything. But you also notice that in terms of the various people you see walking around, far more of them are just openly armed and armored, like you guys are, but also like you wouldn't expect the average townsfolk to be out east. You don't see people walking around in a breastplate with an axe all the time, out in Gorn, for example. But here you do pretty much a lot, not everybody, but a lot of people are just walking around armed and armored. You see, let's see, as Doak described, you see a lot of, a lot of different races. Like Otterkey, you've probably never seen so many tieflings in one place. Tieflings are not unheard of out east, but comparatively more rare. Whereas here, they're just all over the place, all different colors. Blue, white, pink, red, yellow, all different horn styles, and it's just kind of they're everywhere. Lots of dragonborn. You see various people that have, for example, like light blue skin and white hair, or kind of dark gray skin, and in fact, some of them look a little bit like Zoreth in that regard in terms of their coloring. People with red skin and sort of yellowish hair, and lots of orcs and half orcs too, with a kind of grayish greenish tone to their skin, and tusks of varying sizes. But everyone's just kind of walking around doing their thing. As you start getting into town, you do see, again, compared to the cities you're more familiar with, the whole layout is kind of more chaotic. Like there wasn't really any city planner telling people where they can or can't build a building. And so some of them are maybe, very close together to the point where like their roofs are kind of touching, or, they're not, square with each other. So everything's kind of crooked. There's actually a fair amount of trash just like piled in the street in various places. Just refuse people just, dumping stuff out their window or whatever. You actually see a fair amount of beggars as well, just on various street corners. And Doak just kind of says, so like I said, let's just keep on walking. Just follow me. I'll take you where we're going.
Nobody runs this town. Just sort of happened.
Well, there's rich folks who certainly feel like they can, pay to have more say than others. But no one's, like, officially in charge. Like, the people who like to boss people around are paying for the privilege.
Maybe they could organize a little bit more.
Well, they could, but why?
Trash would smell a lot less worse.
What? Really? Well, that's just a city, though. It's like anywhere you have people coming together, it's gonna... Right?
Dwarven cities tend to be a little more organized, I guess.
Huh. See, that's interesting, because I would have thought, well, okay, I suppose... I was going to say that, like, if you live in caves and stuff, caves just go all over the place. But I suppose you carve them out like the stone giants do, huh?
Something like that. Pretty organized. Trash goes out or trash gets buried, but there's organization to it. There's a rhythm, there's a pattern. There's people who organize from down all the way up to the top.
Well, we're on the outskirts right now. There's nicer parts of town, but it's all just down to who lives there and how they want to take care of their property, right? Out here is messy because people can't be bothered. They don't care. So this part of the town is dirty because they don't care to clean it up. But in parts of the town where the people want it to be clean, then they make sure that it stays clean.
I'm curious about the name. Ushbithra means oasis of the plains, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
Somebody said that. What oasis? Is this town isolated? Is there a vast amount of nothing around?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly like the biggest town for kind of a long ways away. I mean, the plains are, you look at them and he kind of just gestures out to where you see, sort of like an endless horizon of sort of this tall yellow grass. It's like, well, I mean, there's lots and lots of that for miles and miles around. And now here we've got a town where there's stuff to do and buy and places to live instead of that.
So, how is the farmland here? Are there many farms around, or none? Or
Oh yeah, no, I mean totally. Yeah, people grow food, and yeah, I mean there's definitely farms, but I mean the grass is pretty invasive when you try to clear it out. I mean a lot of the work farmers are going to have to do is just keeping that grass out of it. It's actually why the stone giants have their stuff up on the big plateau.
makes sense.
So why does Kara, pardon me, why does Carrot live so far out of town?
Oh well, I mean part of that's just because she gets a lot of customers who want discretion. You know what I mean? Like, so they just want to be a little bit more private, a little bit away from some of the others. Like, the thing is, she has a lot of valuable merchandise, right? And so she has all sorts of magical security and everything, but it also just helps to not be so crowded around the building. And plus, I mean, they built the teleportation circle there so it would be convenient to the shop. But that's also something you generally don't want to put in like a dense area just in case you got people who are not experienced teleporters.
Oh, yeah. Experienced ones fall for the false floor, mind you.
Well, yeah, that was pretty funny. I knew that glyph was there, but I mean, like, I didn't think it was ever going to happen. It was just one of those things, like, it's just this thing, it's like, it's just part of the landscape. Oh, yep, and there's that old trap glyph that's never going to get used, and then, wham, and it just works. That was pretty great. I mean, it's because, Mellicants, right? I mean...
Well, I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah. I didn't really get to know my granddad all that well because he died when I was relatively young, but, just all the stuff he left behind, it seemed really cool. He was an adventurer,
So we hear. We don't know much about him, but we've heard a little.
Yeah, he was a ranger. He could track anything.
We had a friend like that with us not so recently.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What happened to them?
Oh, she just decided she needed to go home. She has family obligations, so.
Oh, okay. Well, plus, I mean, being an adventurer is not for everyone. You need people of, sterner stuff like us to, go out there and do the good in the world that needs to be done. Right?
You seem very excited about this.
Oh.
Well, I mean, yeah. Like, I've been ready to do more stuff on my own for a while, but, my moms are just, like, super overprotective about it. I mean, I get why. I'm not saying it's not because they don't, it's not, I mean, I know it's because they love me, but I mean, they got to let me be my own person at some point, right?
Yeah, you got to grow up sometime.
True.
Yeah,
Right.
Don't be in too much of a hurry, mind you. There's a whole lot more old than there is young.
Well, I'm waiting to get
You're
to
lucky.
that. Okay, so anyway. At this point, I think there's a half-orc woman beggar who kind of comes out, and she's a little bit pushier than some of the others that you've gone by, and she just says, spare some copper for an old woman. And Doke's kind of just kind of giving the gesture, just on going.
I'm going to follow Doke's lead and just.
Can I make an insight check on the one that's approaching?
Yeah.
It's kind of curious about something. Let's see. I have to get all the bad dice out first, too. So that was a roll of natural 1. Total
I mean,
4.
It seems fairly straightforward. She's certainly dressed like someone who could use some money. But Amethyst actually takes out a gold coin and just tosses it to her, and Doak kind of whistles through his teeth like, okay,
No.
well, yeah, so we probably want to walk faster because that's going to get around, just saying. I mean, I'm not saying don't be generous, but boy, yeah, you guys don't know what you just did. And Amethyst, so I
seems harmless
asked
to me.
Amethyst, incidentally, what she might do. But yeah, so the woman is just like, thank you, may the spirits bless you, thank you, and she's like tearing up and down on her knees. Thank you, you're so generous. I'll tell tales of your generosity.
Please don't.
And Doak's kind of like, yep, let's keep moving, please. Yeah, it's gonna be a thing.
Yeah, let's walk a little bit faster.
There's 3 copper.
She's harmless. I wouldn't worry.
Well, yeah, it's not that there's anything wrong with her. It's just that, like, if you guys have the reputation first day in town of being a light touch, you're just going to be surrounded.
You know, we can't afford to help everybody, but we do have the tendency to help who they can.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, I don't, you know, I don't want to be, like, cold about it. You know, people need help sometimes, but, I mean, it just gets to a point where you see the same people on the same corners every single day. So let's cut through the park here. Besides, that's a cool thing for you to see anyway. And he leads you around a corner, and you see a pretty big park. Just for player reference, I'd say it's the size of maybe 3 football fields, like side to side, you know, in a row, not end to end, but side to side. And in the center of it is a really big statue of a seated humanoid figure, except that even seated, they're about 12 feet tall. And it's a very intricately carved statue. And so this park has a lot of sort of flowers and, landscaping to it. And it's sort of a very peaceful place by and large, and you see various people in kind of poses of meditation and so on. But you also see that, like, there's still bits of trash here and there, and some people who are just kind of, you know, you see someone who looks like they're passed out drunk over by a bush. But Doak's just kind of, walking you up kind of where the statue is and says, that's a stone giant, right? I mean, statue, right? That's a statue of a stone giant. But the stone giants made the statue of the stone giant, right? And they donated it, like they sponsored this whole park here to be like a place because they think us small creatures need to learn how to calm down and relax and meditate a little bit more. So like they sponsored this whole park to try to encourage us to do that. And, sometimes it works. Like, you get a lot of people who, like, use it for that. And so, just, be quiet while you're here. There's not, like, no one's going to arrest you if you don't, but you might get some dirty looks.
So I have a question. So as we've traveled, we've run across, various spirits of varying powers. So what, in this area, is there any particular spirit that draws more attention than others, or?
No really big powerful ones, if that's what you mean. I mean, there's not a lot of, you guys out east, I think, are a lot more sort of organized in your, like, religious practices. Out here, it's a lot more just, like, natural. Right? Like, spirits are part of the landscape, and we respect them for that, but, we don't, like, make a thing about it.
So there aren't very powerful spirits, then?
Well, I mean, not like big, giant, world-shaping ones, but some of them can be, have a lot of power. Like, the mean ones can be pretty dangerous. But just by and large, you just show respect for them, and they'll leave you alone. Like, I think supposedly the stone giants do worship a very powerful one, but I say supposedly just because, like, it's supposed to be like an earth spirit, a stone spirit, and it's like its aspects, its qualities are supposedly that he kind of gestures to the statue. It's like its ideals are to like meditate and not do or say anything. So how do you know it's actually, there? Like, its whole ideal is to not do anything. So it's kind of like, how do you know it's not just nothing? I don't know. But that's what they say.
Interesting.
As someone who grew up literally surrounded by stone, that sounds delightful. Stone doesn't always just do anything. In fact, most of the time it shouldn't. And when it is doing something, that's a problem. Well, I guess I might understand them maybe a little bit more.
I'll be really interested to see what you think when we go up to the Stone Giants area, just because they're big carvers, right? Like, you see the statue here, and as you guys get closer to the statue, you can see Alaric, especially your knowledge of stonework in general. It's clear that this 12-foot tall, intricately carved statue of a seated stone giant is all made from one piece of stone.
Wow.
And it's incredibly intricate. Like, there's so much more detail than you realized at a distance. There's patterning in the robe that it's wearing.
I can't help but run my hand along it, admiring its quality.
Are there any like particular features that stand out as different from, like, as opposed to it just looking like a very large human?
No hair. They're bald-headed, even though the proportions look vaguely feminine, but not dramatically so. It's a little bit androgynous, and there's no hair. The head, compared to like a human or an elf, is a little bit more like elongated, like tall and narrow, but not in an extreme way, just in a slight way. And you could tell that standing, this figure would be probably 18 to 20 feet tall.
Is there a plaque or something? Nameplate?
I don't think so. I mean, they're not big on like taking credit. Like they think like it's like it's art for its own sake, as opposed to like to make someone famous.
This is very detailed. Is this supposed to be someone in particular?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, it's supposed to be like an encouragement to us little folk to emulate it and be like the stone spirit and be at peace and calm and all that.
Do the stone giants come here often?
Well, often not really, but I mean less even recently. I mean, that's kind of part of why we're concerned, right? It used to be that they'd come into town. You'd see one every couple of days, maybe. You usually wouldn't see more than 2 or 3 max at a time down here. But they would come into town to trade and stuff. People would go out there to trade out to their place. But kind of what started happening is they were coming into town less and less. Some of what they were wanting to trade started getting a little weirder, and then they just kind of stopped coming all together. So
wait, like what? You said things that they were wanting to trade got a little weirder. What do you mean?
Well, like they have their own farms up on their plateau. You'll see it when we go there, but they have their own farms up there, and then they raise these big goats. They're like shoulder as tall as we are. But one of their ranchers came down a couple of weeks ago and wanted to have someone buy their entire herd. And like for almost nothing. They seemed like they were more concerned with having the goats be cared for than from making any money. And like obviously, the people took the deal because it was, a lot of livestock for almost nothing. But it was kind of, it's a little weird. You know, they're usually to just come down and sell a couple at a time, not, 50 of them.
Were they
So-
leaving? Like, were they leaving, not being a farmer anymore?
Well, people asked, but they acted like it was sort of a personal, private thing. They didn't want to talk about it. And I mean, everyone was a little bit weird, but they didn't want to talk about it. And then, we weren't like, this is all just gossip at this point. We don't know what happened because all we know is that one of them was supposed to come and pick up the rod, and then they didn't show up when they were supposed to. So we sent Deke up to try to figure out, hey, what's up? You guys still want this thing or not? Please, we spent a lot of time and money on it. He didn't come back. So we're a little
How long
worried.
ago was that?
Well, he went up there like 2 weeks ago, but it only takes like 6-hour walk to get up there. So, but I don't think anyone in town has seen him for at least 3 weeks, and that's like any of them. And there was a period, just like a drop-off period before that, so.
Maybe he got invited to dinner and just couldn't turn it down for 2 weeks.
Well, let's cross our fingers and hope.
Yeah, I want to go to that party.
I've known some dwarven parties that last a couple of weeks, but generally business still gets done eventually.
So, as you've been walking through the park having this conversation, you see that you're starting to approach sort of a much busier area. It's obviously a bazaar. You can kind of tell from the distance. And with that, I'm going to change our tabletop audio ambiance from Crossroads to Arabesque. As you approach into this whole area, you can see it's a huge open market. But again, compared to ones you've seen, there's a lot fewer permanent structures. There's a lot of people who have just like spread out blankets or whatever, and they have all the stuff, and they're just kind of kneeled by all of their stuff laid out on blankets. Some people have small tents. Or a lot of people have carts too, and you see actually a fairly large number of very similar looking wagons that have a side that folds up, and people operating like a little tiny shop out of this wagon that they've got. And the wagons are all similar enough design that you could imagine that there's some shop in town that sells those wagons. But there's lots of them, and you see that as you pass through some of this less formal area, there are some more permanent buildings and structures in the area, but there's all sorts of vendors all around, and you can see off to one side there's more, like food, like produce and meats over on one direction, and then another direction has more just like baubles and bits of like used weaponry and stuff like that.
What about potions?
That was my thought too.
I've had a lot of fun with potions, so
Well, I mean, there's going to be a few places in town that'll sell you potions, but I mean, if you want to get good potions, you usually just come back to Carrot and Stick. I mean, I'm biased as the family business, but my moms would kill me if I tried to send you somewhere else for potions.
that's very true. I thought she only specialized in like enchanting items. I didn't know
Well,
that
yeah, I mean,
potions
that's-
were another.
She stocks potions. She doesn't make them.
Mm.
But I mean, there's other places that are going to sell them. But again, you guys seem like classy adventurers. It's why I'm not taking you there. And points to like just this, like a stall that has a bunch of like nicked, rusted swords and armor and stuff like that. It's like, I'm gonna take you to the the Iron Tusk or the Hide and Seek, like, because you guys can afford the good stuff, right? I mean, that's.
Oh yeah,
Sometimes.
sure.
We have our moments.
Well, so in any case, I mean, I guess I don't want to decide for you guys. You guys are the experienced adventurers, so, like whatever you guys want.
Well, we tend to rely on our guides when we're in different areas that we don't know well. So in this case, we would defer to your expertise.
Okay, well, in that case, I would say for leather armor, let's head to the hide and seek. And then, like I said, the steel tusk is just right across the street from that if you want something metal. And if you want some potions, I'd say we go back to family shop.
Might do that later.
All right, so as he's leading you through, he lets you know that this is the Bithraka Bazaar. It is just that this part of town and collectively is known as the Bazaar. And you see, actually, as you're heading through it, that there are a lot of what look like private security and mercenaries that are, there's no consistent uniform, but the attitude stands out. And it's just clear that some of the wealthier vendors just pay for mercenaries to guard their stuff. So there's you see a lot of that, and there's just, sort of the general attitude of on duty, I'm watching you, so just behave and that sort of thing, but none of them hassle you. So as you pass through the more informal area to where some of the bigger structures are, you do see that there are sort of a pair of shops that have, clay bricks built up, and one of them has a very obvious column of smoke coming up from what looks like, a forge or a foundry in it, and Doak just points at him and says, hide and seek, steel tusk.
All right, so Amethyst, I think, still has the bag of holding. She usually does. So I think it's probably better not to dig around in there out in the open. So, do we want to split up? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, do you have a lot of things you want to buy? I've got a few, but
well, I just really have the one. And I'm pretty keen to get this armor fixed, because, like, kind of shake the holy chainmail that I've got.
Yeah, and I just want to get mine touched up, so.
yeah, I could get mine
Split up.
cleaned, but I don't think I'm going to be wearing it anytime soon.
Uh-huh.
Could use a bit of, maybe a little leather.
Well, leather, hide and seek. Sounds like that's the place to start.
Yeah, why don't we start there?
Sounds good to me.
And he leads you kind of up to the front door, and he just says, Scritcher's a little odd. Don't worry about it.
Odd how?
Well, you'll see. And so you open the door, and as you head in, initially what you see is what you would expect to see for a shop that sells leather armor. You see various displays of different types, and there's obviously sort of a workshop in the back behind a counter, and you don't see anyone in there immediately.
Hello?
And
You
then,
sure he's here?
And then all of a sudden, from behind the counter, you hear a "Huh!" and then like a thump, like someone's just hit his head. And then all of a sudden, you see what looks like a pretty old tabaxi who had black fur. If for those who don't know, tabaxi are like cat people. And he had black fur, but you can see where it's gone to gray in several places. And you can see one of his ears is missing, and there's sort of a scar, like a burn scar there. And he stands up and immediately levels like a heavy crossbow, a loaded one, at you, and says, "I don't know you. What do you want? Who sent you?"
You don't know us yet, but we'd like to be customers. Doak there brought us.
And Doak just says, "Hey, Scritcher, it's okay. They're with me." Doak, are these people holding you hostage? Say the code word if yes. Doak just says, No, it's fine. It's fine. They're good. They're adventurers like me." And Tabaxi says, Well then, why didn't you say so? And he tosses the crossbow over his shoulder, and you hear it kaboing under the desk.
Reflexively duck.
Yeah. So, you want some leather armor? Looks like, you, he points to Amethyst. You got some nice stuff on you already. I like that. You know, a fine piece, I would think, but you, and he points to Otterkey, he's like, that's just terrible. That makes me sad.
Well, actually,
how can you fight anything? They'll hear you coming from miles away the way you clank around in that thing.
so actually, I was wondering if maybe you could do something with this, and I'm going to kind of rummage through the bag of holding that, like, have Amethyst hold it open and like dig around and get the bullet hide out of there.
Okay. Yeah, you pull it out, and it's starting to smell a little bit, but it's mostly like the wet bits that are starting to smell. Like the actual heavy external hide, that really tough leather that you harvested from the bullet, is still pretty much intact. And you pull it out, and it's heavy even just holding it. But as soon as you say it, it's just, you bullet. Those are pretty tough. Yeah, you can make some good armor with those. Is that what you want? Want me to make some bullet armor for you? I can do that. Take a few days.
Okay. And how much would something like that run?
Well, you know, like, depends on what you want me to make. Like, what size? Who's it for?
For me.
For you? Oh, yes. Well, let's see. Are you looking for something that's gonna be kind of an all-over heavy, fortified sort of approach, or something a little lighter, keep you moving quickly?
I think a nice balance between the two. So something tough, but not super bulky. I don't do a lot of sneaking.
Okay. Well, that's something we can work with. Hang on, I'm pulling up like armor.
So like I'm thinking medium armor as opposed to light or heavy. So
Sure, yeah. Well, see, like, what I could do with that, I mean, the range of things that I could potentially make is, first of all, he again just points at Archie. It's like, you gotta get rid of that stuff. That's just terrible. I'll make you the equivalent of that with the bullet armor. You won't be making so much noise all the time. That's expensive, though. If you want just like I can make you a good breastplate with the bullet armor, that'll run you, since you're providing the materials, I'd say like 200 gold for that. Or if you want to, if I were to make you essentially a set of the full plate with it, it's going to be just as tough as what you got, but not so noisy. That's going to be expensive, though. I'd need probably 800 gold for something like that. There's enough here for maybe 2 sets, whatever you'd like, but then you're going to be down to scraps.
Well, really, my main concern is that I don't know. We ran into a bit of trouble, and I've got some holes in this mithril shirt now that it doesn't work quite as well as it used to.
See, that's where you went wrong, is trying to trust in some of that fancy mithril just because it's got extra letters in it. It's still just metal. It's gonna let you down every time.
Well, it was a gift, so.
Metal can be quite reliable at times, but...
You know, if you feel like that, then maybe you just need to go across the street and talk to that bastard over there, because that's the sort of trade he deals with if you want to get yourself killed.
I'm more interested in something a little simpler for myself, but
Well,
mithril is useful at times.
Well, not around here. Not in this shop.
What about something simpler? You'll work out the deal with them, and that'll take some time, but I'm thinking something just off the shelf. Something like this, and I pointed a set of studded leather that should be about my size.
Okay. Yes, well, see, studded leather. Pretty standard. Usually do a starting price of 45 gold for that. I'd say if I tailor it to fit you precisely, I'd put another 5 gold on that.
What kind of quality does it look like if I just take a look at it?
It's pretty nice. It looks really well made. It's also like brand new. Like, you know, like worn in, but not like dirty or scuffed. It's like in pristine, but like worked condition, as opposed to like raw leather.
That would work for me.
Nice. Yeah? Well, I can do that for you. No problem. That's easy, off the shelf. Always, you know, lifts my spirits because gotta move the inventory, you know.
It's good quality.
Thank you. You know, I make all the armor here myself.
Do you have anything that's enchanted, by any chance?
Well, you know, I usually leave the enchanting to the carrot and stick. You know, Doku should know. So, you know, I will occasionally sell things in partnership with them. You know, something that I make the base material and they provide the enchantment, but that's something, you know, we need to involve them. I don't have any of the enchanted stuff here in the shop.
That's all right. I like the extra recommendation.
Well, you know, with young Doke here, he would certainly be telling them if I didn't say so, and I don't want to lose that business. And
what about gloves and boots?
Doke just says, you know, Scritcher here used to be an adventurer too.
Oh, really?
And he says, oh yes, not in a long time. It's been, you know, I'm too old for all that business now. You know, now I'm just, you know, I do what I like. You know, I run the shop here and the Hunters Guild.
Hunters Guild?
Oh, you want to join the Hunters Guild? It's the dues is 5 gold to start, and you get a full membership card and everything.
And
Doke kind of catches your eye and just kind of goes, gives you a sort of like don't pursue this shake of his head.
Being unwise, I'm going to pursue this. Tell me more about this Hunters Guild.
Well, you see, we're actually in a bit of a membership drive right now. We're actively seeking new members to give a little fresh blood to our organization, if you will. We take on hunting contracts and so on, but you know, you have to be a member of the guild in order to get a contract through the shop, you see. And so if you want to join, you have to pay the dues and so on, but you get the card and you get access to all of our various contracts and bounties.
What sort of contracts? What's something that's happening now or soon?
Well, we're also in the process right now of seeking new contracts.
Ah, I see. I'll keep that in mind, thank you.
Sure, yeah, you know, let me know if you want to join. I might even offer you a member's discount.
You don't say. That's very generous of you.
Right, I'm going to put this very heavy hide up on the counter. For
Yes.
him.
Yes. Did you decide what you wanted me to make with that?
Well, I'm going to need just the medium sort of armor. Something sturdy. Something that'll hold up to the adventuring.
Yeah. So, just to briefly get to the mechanical bit, like I said, so, for example, what I am essentially going to say is if he makes... So, like, you can look at the different types of armor that are in the player's handbook, and there are some that would normally be metal, but if he makes the bullet hide version of it, it won't have the disadvantage to stealth checks. And if he makes something that would normally already not have that disadvantage, it will be a +1 to AC compared to the normal version.
Nice.
Okay. I have no idea where to look for that stuff.
It's in chapter 5 of the handbook, but yeah. So for example, if he made you the breastplate of it, it would be a AC of 15 plus the Dex modifier for it, and that would be the one that was 200 gold. Or he could make a half plate that would be 350 gold, and it would be 16 plus your Dex modifier. Or no, I'm sorry. That one would also be 15 with the Dex modifier, but not have the stealth disadvantage that regular half plate would. But then, like I said, if he made a full set of plate armor, it would be the AC of 18, like regular plate armor is, but not have the disadvantage to stealth checks.
Okay, and how much was that one?
That one,
It's the 800?
800, yeah.
Okay. I see we've each got these platinum bars. So I could go with a half plate for 350.
That sounds like an excellent choice. Keep you nice and safe out there in the dangerous wilds.
Lots of danger. That's true.
So, is that a sale then?
That is a sale. So so how do I do this with the platinum bar? Like I don't know how that works.
Do you need change?
I will need change, yes.
Well, as it happens, I am a business that accepts platinum and gold and so on. I can accept a platinum bar. I'll need to weigh it, of course. But
Of course.
yes, I can accept it and give you your change in gold if that's what you'd prefer.
That will work for me, yes.
So he says, so I'll take half as a deposit, and then I can have the armor ready for you in, say, 3 days.
All right. That sounds fair.
Right? The remainder due upon delivery. But you got enough leather here for another set if you like.
I think it's a little too rich for me. Can't quite cover that.
Well, how about this? For another 50 gold, I'll tan the rest of this leather proper so it won't go bad on you.
And we could use it later.
Yeah. As it is, you've already let it go a little bit longer than perfectly ideal, but I'm a bit of an expert in these matters. I can work with it regardless.
Hey, Archie, if you wanted to do that, I could throw in what was left of my platinum bar if that would cover it. Would that cover it? Because we had some extra gold too from like that job we did.
Yeah, I was just gonna say in my personal stash I got 269, so I mean I could pretty much almost do it, but
Because you guys fronted me some when I wanted that bow that I ended up giving to use. It was just so shiny. But so yeah, if you want, I will.
yeah, not having stealth disadvantage would be hopeful. Without all the clanking.
Well, if that's what you want to do, money is yours.
All right.
I'll take you up on that.
This is an excellent bit of commission work and an off-the-shelf sale. It's a good day for Scritcher. So,
I love her voices so much.
So, well, it was going to take 3 days for the first set. It'll be 3 days for the other, but I can only do one at a time, you see. So, which of these would you prefer first?
Hers, for sure.
Yeah, I think I'm in most need right now.
You got it. So, it was the 400 is the half up front for the full plate, and for the half plate, what did I say? It was 350, I think. Is that what
Yeah,
I said?
350 for the half plate, and it was 800 for the full plate.
Right. Yeah. So, but half up front.
Right.
So it would be 175 for the half plate, and then 400 for the full plate. All right. So if you guys are paying that, you can just go ahead and mark it off your sheet.
Yes.
Does it take long to fit the studded leather?
Oh no, I can do that for you in about an hour if you're just willing to wait for it.
Sure. I can do that.
Or you can go and wander a bit if you like. Go laugh in that fool across the street's face and tell him you've made the right decision and bought some leather.
Oh, you don't need me to be here for the fitting.
Well, I need to measure you first.
All right. I'll need some of your change, too. I feel I need to drop a copper here and there, if you don't mind.
Oh, sure, that's fine. Just consider me a bank when you're giving me this much business. Yeah, so if you guys want to, like, just exchange your silver and copper or whatever for however you want to rearrange that, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so just mark it off, and so Scritcher ducks down behind the counter, stands up with sort of a cloth tape measure, and then literally just with a standing jump just hops over the counter like it's nothing. And then proceeds to walk like he's got a serious limp over to you, and just immediately, like, no, personal space respected or questions asked. He just immediately starts, like, lifting your arms and measuring.
I'm strangely used to this. Although not for armor.
Stocky, the dwarfs. You got unusual proportions. Takes a little
Very
doing.
usual for us.
Well, I suppose that's true, isn't it?
Usually.
No need for a tail hole, right?
And no.
Right. It's been a while. Just wanted to be sure. Measure. All right, then.
You also sell any gloves and boots, something sturdy,
Oh, yes.
especially for cold weather.
That's a silly question. Can't you see this whole wall full of boots and gloves right over here?
No, I was looking for your recommendation. I can see a wall of boots, but I'm sure you see something different.
Well, I made them all. They're all good. But if you're looking for sturdy, heavy, like that'll last you, as opposed to light and comfortable. I mean, they're all,
Something
going to be comfortable, but I guess what I'm looking at, are you going to be running around walking on molten lava with them is what I'm asking, or are you going to be sticking to the soft grass? Is kind of the general idea. Walking on
Rocks.
carpet's a different use.
Cold, hard rocks.
I don't think I have special, like, stats for different kinds of boots that are standard
No, that's
boots,
fine.
but you can buy a set of boots, and I'd say you can get a nice you can get this nice set. Probably work for you. It's a nice wide base for your feet, and that'll run you just 5 gold for that. But those will last you years. You treat them right.
Seems pretty good to me. Thank you. And gloves, too, if you can.
Yep. Once again, is this something where you want extra sturdy protection, or are you looking for finesse work?
One of each, actually, if you have them.
I do. And he shows you a big set that looks like it's, very insulated and thick. Like you're pretty impressed with that. You feel like you could take a stone out of a campfire and just hold it with one of them. It's that sort of
Perfect.
insulated. And then the other one is much thinner. It's and slimmer, but you would have still a lot of fine motor skill control with it. And he says, with the amount of business your whole little party has given me, I'll just toss those in for free.
You're a gentleman and an artist.
Haha, well, one of those at least.
Kind of like this guy.
You sure you don't want to join the guild? We could use a member like you who has such fine taste in leather.
I've got a business I've got to deal with for the moment, but I'm sure I'll be back again, and we'll talk more about it then.
Good, I'll look forward to that.
So will I.
So, like I said, it'll take me about an hour to fit your leather, but feel free to wander around and come back for it, or wait however you like.
Ooh, let's go get something to eat.
That sounds fun.
Doak says, I know a good wagon nearby. It sells like barbecue.
What's barbecue?
Oh, well, then that's definitely what we're getting.
How do they hunt them? Wild barbecue or domestic?
What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen barbecue?
Barbecue?
So, Doak escorts you to the door, and Scritcher actually comes to see you off. And as you open the door and start to leave, you notice that Scritcher stands in the doorway, looks across the street at the Steel Tusk, and you can see through the front window of that door is a scowling half-orc, and Scritcher makes a rude gesture at him and then slams the door.
Archie, did you want to see it all about getting your current set cleaned, maybe? You have a bit of algae growing along the back there.
Probably is a good idea. I mean,
There's a couple of pointy things I wouldn't mind picking up too.
yeah, I would like to.
Yeah.
So just for calculation purposes, Archie, I gave you that platinum bar so that you could
Right on.
deal with it all.
Just as an aside, I am looking at the equipment and kind of adding it in here, and I just happen to go for weapons. The first weapon listed on D&D Beyond is antimatter rifle. Something tells me that's a homebrew.
Could be, yeah. I don't think you're going to find that in this particular shop. Just saying.
We will search every shop.
I don't know if it's run by a gnome. You never know.
Yeah.
Get us one of them grappling hooks. Antimatter grappling hook? Does that?
In the chat, Mother Dragon says, teleport in the next 5 minutes and receive these fine mithril steak knives with any order. So, as we, are you heading across the street then to the Steel Tusk?
Yeah.
So you head over there and you see the this half orc who's kind of standing in the window. His face kind of light up as you come over, and then he sort of ducks out of the way where he can't see him through the window anymore. And but as you open the door, you see him say, "Welcome, come on into the Steel Tusk. I'd love to have your business." And you see him definitely make eye contact over your shoulder, but then kind of turn around. Come on, come in.
Shit, I really hope that doesn't affect the quality of the armor we get. Damn it.
What's your name, friend?
Oh, yes. Well, my name's Prog, and this is my shop. I sell all the finest armor and weapons that you can buy in all of Ushmithra.
You come recommended. Look over at Doak.
And Doak just kind of says, Prog used to be an adventurer too. Indeed I did. Oh, I've told you my stories before, haven't I, Doak? Yes, of course I have. I've told you all my stories. But I have not told my stories to you. Are you here for stories or perhaps to buy something?
One will probably lead to the other.
I'm good for a story, but my friends here are, I think, looking for other things.
This metalwork on my body here could use your touch, I believe. It's fairly used and abused, and
let me have a look. And he kind of comes over, and he's kind of got his thumbs tucked into his belt, and he's kind of giving you the once over, looking all around, fiddles with a couple of the plates, and just says, "Yeah, that's in pretty rough shape. How'd you, looks like it's a bit piecemeal too. Was this a full set when you got it?"
I came how you see it. It was rushed, rather, yeah.
If you get a full set, here comes tailor-made, fit it to you personally, and I'd send you a kit and an instruction booklet on how to keep it clean, if you don't mind me saying.
Interesting.
Are you looking to buy, or you just need a patch job for some of those?
Yeah, really,
bits?
I just need to get this, cleaned up.
Yes, well,
I'm afraid that's all I can afford right now, really.
Well, I suppose you're out an arm and a leg, spending over there across the street, that Skinflint Scritcher.
Yeah. I can't work with that guy. He seems to have issues.
He and I used to be partners once upon a time, but
Oh.
no. It's just there was some chasms cannot be crossed.
Was he with you when you were adventuring? Is that it?
It was a long time ago. Long time ago. But yes, he and I used to be adventuring partners. I need to carefully remember that sometimes when I think of my adventures with him, I makes my voice sound like his a bit more.
That can happen when you're around people for a while. You start to sound a lot like them.
Yes, well, it's a difficult thing, losing a friendship. But now we have settled down into a semi-amicable relationship as business rivals, partners, no more.
It seems like most groups coming through here is going to need a bit of what you've got and a bit of what he's got.
Well, it's convenient that we're across the street from one another then, because we're certainly not going to be on the same side.
Oh, Scripture mentioned something about a hunter's guild. You know anything about that?
Is he still on about that?
Apparently so.
Scritcher is, you might say, the only member of this guild ever. He has been trying to start it for 25 years.
And nobody's taken him up on this?
Well, there have been some, but none that stuck around.
A shame.
So
We used to pick up some work.
If I could ask, what happened between you two? I don't mean to pry or anything, but
Well, if you don't mean to pry, then please don't.
Shut down.
well, it just sounded like an interesting story. But
Oh,
certainly
yes,
you're not.
very interesting and very personal and painful, so thank you. Maybe once we've gotten to know each other a bit better by engaging in some business. Unless you'd prefer to start by telling me all of your most personal anecdotes.
I was in a hole for 4 years, but that's probably not all that interesting.
Was it interesting?
Well, it was 4 years of running for your life, so probably not dull.
Well, it wasn't really dull, but this short sword over here, this looks like a nicely made sword.
Yep. I can modify the grip on that. You got the blade that you can see there, but we've got several different pommels and grips I can swap out for you if you like a different style.
Yeah, something little mundane. I don't want it to stand out too much.
Well, I've got the standard fit that's on there, so if that works for you, then you could walk out with that right now. Well, pay me first, of course.
How much would that run me?
And he actually starts. He opens his mouth to answer, but then kind of seems like he just sort of goes away in his head for a little bit.
Prague?
Oh, I'm sorry. What did you ask me?
Short sword price is all I'm asking about. This one in particular.
Yes. Did you want the standard hilt on it?
You have a weighted hilt, one that might serve itself as a blunt weapon.
Yes, we can do that. We have a number of it's just kind of just washers weights that can go on underneath the where we wrap the leather to for the grip.
Hey, Christiana. As he's talking, I would like to use my magic ring of truthiness to read his thoughts.
Okay.
Not like super intrusive, just.
All right. So as he's talking, you hear obviously his sort of the most surface level thought is him trying to answer Alaric's question, but underneath that a little bit is a little bit of anxiety of like, oh no, it happened again.
Okay. How long can I maintain this spell and continue like reading him?
Well, I basically it lets you cast the spell, so I would say pull up whatever the spell says, and it works the same way.
What's...
Do I notice that she's doing this? Have you done this before with that ring or some? I'm trying to remember.
The last time I used it, you weren't with us yet.
Right, and also she only needs to she looks through the ring to spot illusions, but she doesn't need to look through the ring to cast the spell with it.
So I don't know what's happening. then.
So I think that spell though does require like well, let's see what that one requires. Detect thoughts.
I'm looking it up now.
Okay.
It says for the duration, and it's 1 minute.
Okay. Yeah. So that's yeah. So what I'll say is make a stealth check to try to do that in an unobtrusive way.
Yeah, now I have to go back to my sheet. Okay, then. Stealth. Loading. Just thinking about it. Oh, but I rolled a natural 20, so...
Yeah, I don't think anybody else in the room notices what you did in casting the spell. So, as this guy, this half orc is explaining to you how he can help you to customize the hilt to be whatever weight you would want it to be, because obviously, you know, how heavy your sword is plays a big role in your use of it. So he shows that, you know, he has modular weights essentially that he can add to it to make it as heavy or light as you want it to be. And actually, as he is having that conversation with you, a younger female half-orc comes out and just says, "Oh, Dad, you didn't tell me there were customers. You want me to take care of this for you?" And he's like, I can do it. I'm not that old yet." She just kind of waves to the rest of you and says, "Hi there. Are you here for some weapons?
Who?
Maybe some armor?"
I'm after
clean
some
up.
weapons.
Well, you know, my dad, he's the best smith in town.
Good to hear.
He kind of, the look that he gives her, I think you guys can tell that it is the sort of irritation that you can only have with someone you really love. But
Can I hear him thinking anything in particular?
there's still a little bit of you know, indignation combined with a little bit of embarrassment that, you know, he kind of spaced out, and he knows it, and he knows that she knows it, and he's trying to cover.
So, okay, so this appears to be his daughter. Okay.
So while he is still showing Alaric that the different weights, and basically saying that he wouldn't charge you anything additional just for customizing the balance of the short sword, but this younger half orc is going to kind of turn to the rest of you and just say, "Can I help you with anything?"
Archie?
Yeah. I was hoping to get this armor cleaned up and
Oh yeah,
have a few repairs.
could use it if you don't mind me saying so.
Oh, I know it. It.
You look like you've seen a lot of action and all that.
Yes, it's been a busy week.
Yeah, we can get that taken care of for you mid afternoon by you know what? You know what? We can do that for 1 gold piece. How about that? We can give you a full polish.
Excellent. Yeah.
If you want us to, looks like you could probably get it refitted a little bit. It doesn't look like it was made for you.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Yeah, we can give you a better, probably more comfortable fit for another. Might need some new leather, I would think. So I'd say 2 gold, another 2 gold on top of that. So 3 gold for the clean job and refitting it for you.
That sounds reasonable. Yeah. I'll do that.
And I'll just say mechanically, it's not going to make any difference so much as just
Right. Make me feel better.
yeah.
Be more presentable.
Yeah. You would have a cleaner, better fitting suit of armor. Yeah. Okay, so you'll have to take it off so we can do that. Unless you want us to
Alright.
clean it on you, in which case I think we'll have to charge you more.
Oh yeah. I'll strip it off.
What are you actually wearing underneath that armor? Given that we
That's a
have
good
not dealt with
question.
you taking off the armor in 50 episodes.
Yeah.
It probably doesn't smell good, whatever it is.
I guess I always kind of assumed he took it off at night.
Well, I guess
I
maybe
didn't.
when we were in Villanocta at the castle,
Yeah.
probably had a bath.
Well, that's actually where he got the armor to begin with, was when you
Oh,
guys
it
were
is.
going
Oh,
off
that's
to fight the
right.
hobgoblins.
Yeah, there was a
is
set
when-
for your horse
Yeah.
too, wasn't there?
No, he ordered a set and then never
I
went
ordered
back
a
for
set,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a busy few weeks.
But I had I had a set of simple traveler's clothes.
Mhm.
Never bothered to get anything else.
It's all right. So we'll take care of this. Just come back in in a few hours and we'll have it all shined up for you.
Excellent.
We'll we'll just repair the straps while we're working on it, and then we'll fit it on you once you get back for it.
Great. Thank you very much.
So in the meantime, Prague has been working with you, Alaric, to just show you that you can get it whatever weight you want, and just like is this sort of short sword what you're looking for? He has some fancier looking ones, but he can tell. I can tell you're not the ostentatious sort.
How much are the fancy ones?
Oh well, they can you get a custom job. You can get them up to all sorts of ranges. But if you're looking for functional weapons with just a little bit of extra glamour on them, we have them getting up to. This is where I'm having to remember what short swords cost.
Short swords are 10 gold, I think.
Okay. Yeah, you say, we have some models that would run you up to, 80 to 100 gold. You get some nice engraving on the hilt and some fancy little etchings on the blade. It's honestly not going to make the sword any more effective for you, but it looks pretty. That's where we usually get the people who don't really use the sword so much for fighting as much as impressing others.
Maybe if I grow in a little more wealth, I'll grow into that. For now, I'll take 2 of these short swords. Do you carry a brace of throwing knives by any chance?
Oh yeah, you want hiltless or more dagger style?
Bit of each.
All right. And he shows you over to a selection of those.
Okay. Does he have like a
What would I call it?
basically a strap or a way to wear them?
He does, and a little bit oddly, or maybe not so odd given some of the things that you've learned, he does not have any, although some of the various armor bits and swords and everything have leather, straps and scraps and everything, there's nothing that really looks like it requires any elaborate or fancy leather work at all.
Yeah,
So he
I
has a
kind of
couple of
expected
very
that.
basic sort of hilts and scabbards and stuff like that.
Did I notice that Scritcher had anything like that?
Oh yeah, he had all sorts of stuff like that.
Okay. I'll put a pin in that for now. And the daggers, I'm looking for good quality. I don't know if in your interpretation whether +1 is automatically a magical one or
Yeah, I think of those as those are magical.
Okay. All right.
So while all this is going down, can I pull Doke out of the shop to the street?
Sure. He just kind of goes, "Ooh, secrets."
Well, I was just wondering what you know about these two.
They're funny, right?
Right, well, what's the deal with the rivalry they've got going on? Do you know anything about that?
It's something that they've had going at about the same level for as long as I have known them. And I get the feeling, just personally, that they don't hate each other so much as they love to hate each other.
So there was something a bit ago, like Prague here, he seemed to, he had a momentary lapse. Does he do that often?
Yeah, it's a little sad. It seems like it's happening more in the last couple of years. I don't know if he just got hit in the head too many times or something, but yeah, he's just kind of, like he's still good at his, makes good material and everything. It's just he kind of just goes away sometimes.
That's a shame. I wonder if there was anything I could do for him, but I don't know that I can help with that.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know any healing magic. I don't know what you can do.
So, just mechanically, I have access now, I think, to Greater Restoration, but I don't know if that would... I think I have access to it now. But I don't know if that would... I do. Do anything for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think...
Because you said that's what
not...
would have fixed Ulrich or Alaric's arm before. So
yeah, I think in hindsight, Greater Restoration is I think that is what ultimately the priest in the mines in the Barrier Mountains cast to fix your broken arm, Alaric. I think that is what it was. So, but yeah, so that there are some things that Greater Restoration would fix, but you also don't know specifically what's wrong right now. So, it's possible, but you're not sure because you really don't know what it is exactly that's having this effect.
Okay. What about his daughter? Like, what does she do in the evenings? Like, would she frequent one of the pubs, or is she more of a homebody?
I don't really see her like around. I mean, like when I'm like my friends and I, like she's a little, older than me, so I don't know. I'm not really sure.
I'm just wondering if there was anything I might do to help, but without knowing specifically what's wrong, it would be hard for me to make that call. So I was just wondering if you had any more information, anything I could do to help.
I don't know. Sorry. I mean, I just know that he's just fine most of the time, and then just kind of spaces for a little bit, and then he's a little fuzzy. I mean, that's all I know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It was worth me asking. So.
I mean, if you can help him, that would be great. I just don't know how that all works. Like I've got my own magic, but the healing stuff is it's not how my stuff works. I don't know what that is.
Right, and I understand that. But I do have access to certain healing magics. So.
Is that from your spirit gives you those?
Yes.
Interesting.
Well, there are a lot of clerics that do similar things, so.
Yeah, I mean, there's some in town but it's it's not. I guess it's more common out in the east where people worship spirits more specifically, right? Like, are there lots of clerics?
I wouldn't say a lot. There are definitely priests that hang out in the various temples. Like Sitzlebek has a very, very large temple now, and there was also a temple in Ilamancha.
Mm-hmm. Make a perception check, Mira.
Well, I rolled another 20. I don't know why.
As you're talking to Doak, you realize over his shoulder that kind of near one of the cross streets, you can actually see, first of all, what seems like a greater density of some of the beggars and panhandlers that also seem like they're not in their regular spots, like they're moved, and some of them are definitely looking your way. And you catch hiding around one of the corners is the one that Amethyst gave the gold coin to.
Ah, crap. Let's see. What if I do? I have an idea.
Doke, I think, follows your gaze and goes, "Oh, yeah. See, that's what I was afraid of."
Okay, so hold on, let me look at something real fast. I want to see how long that lasts. 1 hour. Okay, so here's what I want to do.
Okay.
How close are they to wrapping up inside?
Well, let's. I mean, you pulled them away when they were kind of. So, did you? What else?
It was
did
just
you have,
just
Alara?
Doke. So
So I'm just buying the one short sword and 6 daggers.
Okay. All right. So the I think for a lot of this stuff that's not specialized, we can just go ahead and use the prices that are in the guide. So the
Okay.
short sword, then the standard one was, I think you said
10 gold.
10 gold, and then the daggers 2 gold each. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
I'm stripping out and putting on my traveler clothes.
Yeah. So, and Amethyst has been with you guys, but I think, given what you know of her, like you've got the feeling that she's been lost in thought a little bit. Like she, if you call her name, she'll look at you like she's not, she's not dazed or anything, but she also just seems distracted.
Something tells me that a metal shop is probably also not her place to be.
yeah, she doesn't like towns in general. So
She did look more interested looking around in the wares of the other place rather than this one.
all right. So as they're wrapping up inside, I would like to cast Fog Cloud down the street.
Okay.
You're gonna
Kind
get
of
so much
obscure our
trouble.
getaway.
Doke's face just lights up. He's like, "That is so cool!" And so as you cast this, sure enough, fog just begins to sort of condense out of nowhere, centered where you were looking, and starts to obscure the area where they had been gathering and sort of blocking the view. And you hear a lot of voices kind of saying, "Hey, what's happening? What is this? That's weird." And you hear some just people commenting on the strange fog cloud that just came out of nowhere on this otherwise warm, sunny morning.
So that's going to be there for an hour. Until a 10 mile per hour or greater wind disperses it.
So I think Doke will just kind of look at it and say, "So, do you want to go kind of hide somewhere, or what are you thinking?"
Just to lose them, maybe.
One of my friends' houses is not too far from here. There's also, I don't know if you guys wanted to check out a tavern, but
I could go for a tavern.
Food.
so I think maybe at this point, Alaric and Otterkey probably come out, and Amethyst sees the fog and
Whoa.
just says, I think she just kind of points at it and looks to you, Nira, like, "Is that?"
We were being followed.
Followed by whom?
Remember how Amethyst was so super nice and gave some gold to that beggar woman?
And Doke says, "And remember how I advised that might be a problem?"
Opportunists.
Yeah, it was a problem. So Doke here is going to lead us to lunch and drinks.
That sounds
So-
good.
Tavern then, right?
Yes.
Ah, yeah, food.
I'm going to take you guys to an adventurer bar.
Oh, this ought to be good.
Wondering what Doke's version of an adventurer bar is. It's just like a tourist trap, I think.
So he leads you away from the fog cloud, but then you actually curve around, and you're going through some various alleys, and you're in kind of another part of the town that's a little bit less foot traffic, and looks a little bit, more like run down, like, in terms of, the cleaner areas and the dirtier areas. This looks like, again, like it's a little bit more of a dirtier area. But he just kind of stops near one sort of building and just says, all right, so what I told you guys about coming into town, like they're going to know you're newcomers, like the people in here are going to know you're newcomers, but as long as we just walk in and we look like we're together, they'll just accept us. It'll be fine. Like, it won't be probably too busy this early in the day, but we just need to walk in and have an attitude like, oh yeah, we belong here. This is fine. There's no reason to suspect us of anything or object to our presence in any way, and just, project that aura and it'll be fine.
All right, I'm gonna put on my best resting elf face.
So,
I'm going to turn down the cloak to something a little more casual.
act natural.
Down.
And so he actually, knocks on what looks like just sort of a regular wooden wall, right there. And you hear a voice just say, "What's the password?" And Doak just goes, "There isn't one." And he kind of winks at you guys. "Are you trying to be funny?" "Yes." "Whatever." And the door opens. And as you see in there, it is a dank, dirty, dark dive bar. And what you see in this place is, like a few tables. A couple of them have people who are obviously passed out already. You see another table that has a pair of what look like full-blooded orcs wearing armor, drinking ales and scowling at you guys as you enter. A few other miscellaneous patrons, but then behind the bar you see a pink-skinned tiefling with horns like ram horns, who just kind of looks up and just says, "Oh well, some new faces in my bar. Come on in a little closer so I can see these faces up close."
Okay.
Stride across the room to the bar.
Look like we belong.
Give me a drink. No, don't really say that. No.
And Doak marches right up to the bar along with him and just goes, "Hello, Modesty." And she just sort of raises her eyebrow at him and then looks at the rest of you. So, I'm Modesty, although I usually like to be able to introduce myself, but this is my place, Moderation. And, we don't want any trouble in here. You don't look like you're preparing to get some, but just know that whatever you bring in, you're going to leave with more of it.
Hey.
Does that include money?
No, generally people leave with less money. That's kind of how businesses work.
It was a joke.
As she says that to Nira, though, she actually just turns and gives a wink to Otterkey. So, she just kind of looks at all of you and just says, "So, you came to a bar in the middle of the day. Obviously, you're looking for fine cuisine."
There was some hope that there would be some food. Is that a dashed hope?
She kind of looks at Doak again and just says, "Yeah, we got food. What do you want?"
Something tasty and filling, I think, would be good. And as for the food,
And then she kind of
something warm.
So as you, she was preparing her own joke, but then as you finish with hers, she kind of says, "All right, I like you. warm we do have on the menu. So, what? Stew? We got stew.
Sure. We'll start
Strong
with
stew.
bread, fresh oak.
She laughs and then goes back into a back room. And
Is this
then-
the finest you wanted to show us, Doak?
And then Doak is kind of glancing around, eyes wide, and you guys don't have to make an insight check to know that he has never been inside this room before.
Yeah.
But he
Is
kind
this
of
what
just
you
turns
think
to you
an
and
adventure
says,
bar is?
"Well, you know, I mean, like obviously it's in the middle of the day. Like this is not the busy, crowded time, you know. But like,
I'm
this is
sure
where,
they,
you know, the adventurers should come through town, hang out, and they swap war stories and stuff like that. It's just,
I'm
you know,
sure
I figured
they-
like you
they-
guys are adventurers. This is a place you'd want to see, right?
I'm sure they clean the place up, even maybe wash the floors by the time the night falls in.
Why would they do that? Isn't it?
Maybe
Isn't this
something
like
sticky.
this part of the whole atmosphere, right? So cool.
Yeah. Let's find a seat.
How do you know modesty, anyway?
Well, yeah, Modesty and I, you know, go way back. You know, I don't want to like tell tales out of school or whatever, but like, you know, we know each other. I'll say that.
Did you actually go to school together?
Well, no. She's like 15 years older than me, dude.
I was wondering how far back you were going to go. I don't think you can go that far back.
I know her from the shop.
That's what I thought.
Special delivery, maybe?
But like, you know, I mean, I just thought like you guys wanted me to show you the sights, and like this is the place that the adventurers come and go through, and like, you know, if we're gonna be like a party, I figured like this is like the place to have this, you know, like bonding experience, right? Like these adventures, they start in a tavern, right? That's how it works.
It's a sight.
That's right. That's true. That's true. It often starts in a tavern.
Yeah.
And it often starts with some gambling.
That's actually where I met Archie and Amethyst.
Really?
Ah, true.
See, and he
I
just
didn't know
looks
that.
it's like I knew it.
Very
Although we
true.
like to pick up dwarves in holes every now and then, so you know.
And
Much
then
appreciated.
Modesty at that point comes, or she comes back from the bar holding a couple of bowls of stew after you said that, and just says, "Hello."
Long story.
So she sits a couple of these
People.
bowls of stew, and they're kind of steaming, and there's some obviously stale bread sliced on it, and it just says, "I'm not even going to charge you for that if you buy beer." So
Then we'll buy beer.
Round of beer.
that I will charge her for. And she, I don't know how much beers cost. I don't care. She charges you for the beer.
We'll start a tab.
Yeah.
I stretch out a little bit. I crack my fingers, and then I wave my fingers over my food, and suddenly it steams a lot more and smells great as I use prestidigitation to make my meal a hell of a lot better.
Oh, that's not fair. Can I have some of that?
Sure, I'll do the same for hers.
It's a neat little trick.
I'll have what she's having.
You know, when you eat nothing but mushrooms for 4 years, you learn a lot of tricks.
Ah.
Does Amethyst currently have Purify Food and Drink just in case?
We'll say that. I'm trying to remember because, like, you guys, this is still technically the same day as
Yeah.
as you guys did your last couple of fights. So I
Yeah,
don't know.
because she had that one equipped when we were having dinner with the guy in
I think it's reasonable to say that she does. So we'll say that she can cast.
Brigadier General. No, just in case, because I would really like to not. I would like to avoid food poisoning if possible.
It's all the same. Of course, I'm a
And,
dwarf.
And so, Modesty kind of just leans one elbow on the bar and looks over at you, Otterkey, and just kind of says, "So, what's a nice tiefling like you doing in a place like this?"
Aren't you about to drink for free? Let them horns.
boy. You know, that's a long, long story.
You
Seems
know?
to me we could ask you the same thing.
Oh, I'm not a nice tiefling.
Well, that's Archie's favorite kind.
You have
Can't
a
argue
kind,
with
do
that.
you?
And you guys are watching Doak just like watching this conversation like a tennis match with just a big dopey smile on his face, like this is everything he imagined how cool this place would be.
Well then,
Upstanding paladin, you know. I don't know that I can be associated with such darkness.
sure you can.
She
I've
kind of
met you.
says, "Oh, but isn't it having it be forbidden all the more exciting?"
Take a walk on the wild side, Archie.
And then
a valid
at
point.
this point, the one of the orcs at the other table just says, "More beer!" And she says, "That won't keep. I'll be right back."
Hey, you know what they say, Otterkey.
Hmm.
You really should live life with everything in moderation.
I will drink to that.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Doak says, "That's like the name of the place."
You're right.
And he
Yes,
takes a
it
sip
is.
of his
Right.
beer and kind of,
Acquired taste. And actually, I'll use prestidigitation on this beer
okay.
and make it taste like apple juice.
Oh no, we're gonna be carrying him home. His moms are gonna be so mad.
I have very low wisdom. I'm all for this.
And he just kind of like,
Get what hair in your chest, or whatever Dragonborn have.
"All right, is it still alcoholic though?"
Oh, probably.
Well,
Just
good.
make it a little easier.
Yeah, I mean-
I'll pull back the effect as you get
I
used to
wouldn't
it.
want you to mess out.
Well, you know, I mean, I drink it all the time the regular way, but you know, it's a new thing. You know, we're new friends, so it's like, yeah, I'll try it this way too.
I'll turn mine pink.
As soon as that happens, one of the orcs just immediately stands up at the table and says, "You! That is amazing! Can you do mine?"
Probably. For a silver.
Alaric, just
Okay.
do it.
He carries his spear over there and hands you a silver coin. He's
All right.
he's unsteady on his feet a little bit. Says, "No funny business. I won't give you the coin until my beer is pink."
No problem. I'll make it pink and I cool it a bit.
And
The effect on my meal has gone away because I can't have this many effects at the same time.
So he watches you do it, peers at it, takes a sip, hands you the silver, and then goes back to his table. And
It's an easy way to make it silver.
Modesty comes back and just kind of says, "Now don't go spoiling my customers. You know, they're going to start expecting this kind of treatment all the time."
I'll just have to come back more often.
Well, does that mean you're staying in town long? You seem fresh-faced here, as far as I can tell.
Business in the area, at least for a while. I don't know, I heard something about a hunter's guild, maybe.
Been to the hide and seek then?
Yeah, how'd you know?
Indeed.
Well, if you've been around in town a little while, you'll hear lots about the Hunters Guild, all from Scritcher.
I mean, he's a bit beaten up and a little worn for the age, but I hear that he used to be quite the companion.
Oh, I don't know about that. That's what he says.
And that other one, too, Prague.
Oh, yeah.
You know, those two, they do what they do. Those old codgers, old adventurers. You know, you don't see that many old adventurers, and when you do, they're like that.
In business?
Well, that's not what I was talking about, but sure, why not?
How about yourself? Is this where you want to be in this place? Is that what you aspire to?
Oh,
Not that it's not a great place.
yes, your sarcasm is oh so heartening.
I could use a bit of sprucing up.
Well, you know, there's a certain type of clientele that would not come into a place if it was all shining and spotless.
Right. I think this place has a lot of character.
There's one over there with a pink beer. I'll lean a little closer to her. So, what's this about a password then? So we can get back in easily.
You realize there's no one actually standing by the door that you came in. Who did you ask? Did you ask Modesty or?
Yeah.
Because it was definitely not her voice that you heard through the door. And then she just kind of says, "Yeah, there is no password. The orcs just think it's funny."
It's kind of funny, actually.
Well, you know, those guys have been hanging out for a while. They lost their merc positions about a week ago, and they've been drowning their sorrows ever since. And far be it from me to turn away people who keep buying beer.
Yeah.
I better get work if they're going to keep buying all the beer.
She kind of just shushes, is like, "Don't tell them that. I need them to buy more beer first."
There's a lot of turnover and mercenaries around here then.
Well, you know, sometimes. I mean, there's plenty of work to go around if you can, be responsible about it. But funny, if you ask me, maybe people who spend a week drinking beer just to mourn a lost job are not the kind that get a new job very easily.
I'm assuming something more than standing around stalls looking bored.
Well, I don't know. It's a living if you can work it. But I wouldn't want to do that. That's why I sell beer.
Fair enough.
And make a fine stew.
I'll have you know, though, before you start getting too envious of my glamorous lifestyle, that there's still a fair amount of standing around looking bored.
Well, we'll try to make it more entertaining for you while we're here. How's that?
Much obliged. So, what brings you into town, then, if you don't mind me asking?
We were just.
By the way, she directs that question more specifically at Archie. Not in a rude
So
way, but just...
Nira kind of sees her place, and so she's just gonna kind of sit back with her beer and I'm gonna chill.
You know, a little of this, a little of that. We've got pick up the odd job here and there.
Some sort of business with the carrot and stick, I would guess, if you picked up this little stowaway. Doak kind of says, "I'm actually part of their adventuring party. We're going to go on a mission."
A quest, you might say.
I would like to elbow Doak.
It's like, what?
Moderation in all things, including information.
And then Modesty kind of puts her hands on her hips, big smiles, like, "Well, now you have to tell me."
Mostly just delivery.
It's not really that exciting.
Yeah, it's not very glamorous.
You guys want more beer?
Sure, I'm game.
And Doak has finished his and says, "Yes, please."
So, is she still? Are we still chatting with her, or is she left?
Yeah. Well, no,
okay.
she's just sort of refilling from kegs like beneath the bar.
All right. We haven't been here long, and I'm still trying to figure out how this town works. There's no mayor, just a bunch of rich people on one side and poor people on the other.
And she kind of says, "Well, I mean, it's not so much one side and another, so much as the rich people the big houses are kind of all outside of town where it's not so crowded.
But you
You know?
have,
But yeah, we got our rich and our poor just like anywhere.
but you have stone giants looking out for you. At least they tried to.
Don't look out for us.
That statue seemed like a pretty nice gesture.
It's presumptuous if you ask me. You're gonna come in here and tell us, oh, here, we'll give you a really nice park if you live like we do by sitting around and doing nothing all day.
Seems like a lot of people are doing that anyway.
Well, yes, but if they're sitting in the park, they're not buying beer from me.
Some have a hard time affording it, I suppose.
Well, you know what? If someone cannot afford to buy beer from me, they are free to go sit in the park if that's what they want to do, but it doesn't seem like a way to get more money.
Well, if all of them were put to work, maybe they'd have some spare money. Spend on some stuff they could use but not necessarily need, like beer.
You know what? You're right. I'm going to get started on upending our entire social structure right away.
I like her.
Not sarcasm rather than modesty.
Well, I think I save up my sincerity for when it will really be useful. I don't have that much of it to go around.
You from this town? You've been here your whole life?
Well, around and about. I mean, this is really the only place to be for miles, so.
Except for the mountains?
Hmm?
The
What about-
mountains.
What
They're
about
not
the
that
mountains?
far away.
No. But
Ever been up that
what's-
way?
Well, I mean, I've, seen the Stone Giant Plateau once or twice. You go there just to see it.
Just to see it?
Well, there's not that much else to do there.
Have you ever met the stone giants?
Well, sure. I mean, not in a while. I haven't seen any of them in a while now that you can mention it.
I mean, they aren't likely to come through the door. It's too small.
Well,
I
not in
suspect.
here now. I mean, they're not big in the creature comforts anyway. They're kind of austere, you might say. Not really my kind of being, 18 feet tall or otherwise.
Yeah, that seems a bit tall to me, too. Of course, everything pretty much seems tall to me. Except Andrew.
Who's Andre?
Friend,
All
gone
right.
her own
then.
way now.
Friend, we had to
He's
part
traveling
ways with
around.
recently.
Ah. Well, how about another beer to toast your long lost friend?
Actually, not a bad idea.
To Andre.
And
I think I'm gonna hold off on another one just yet.
Doak has definitely finished a second one now.
I didn't flavor that one.
He forced it. he made his way through it.
Don't really have anywhere to be.
Do you have a dartboard?
And she kind of says, well, if you mean a board that sometimes has things thrown at and embedded in it, then yes.
More or less.
And she kind of gestures, and there is actually like a wooden wall area that looks like people have not darts necessarily, but like throwing a dagger to try to get it to stick in the wall. It looks like there's been a lot of that happening.
Okay. But there's no actual markings on it other than
No.
the holes. That would probably bring in more business.
What? Like I could draw circles on the wall?
Probably.
So, as a cleric, would I have like a piece of charcoal or something?
I would think so. That seems like a likely thing to have.
Okay. Well, I will take that piece of charcoal and I am going to draw a target board thing on the wall for Alaric. I want to watch this.
The same orc from before stands up, slams his mug on the table again, and goes, "That's a great idea."
I'm going to go back to sitting and watching.
I got to see if the daggers are balanced properly after all. So I'm going to proceed to use them as my darts.
All right. So make a couple of attack rolls.
Can I boop him with guidance?
Guidance won't affect attack rolls.
No, it
Oh,
won't.
right. Yeah, that's ability.
Yeah.
checks. Yeah.
All right, so I'll just roll 2 dice. That is a 19 and an 18.
Yeah,
Quack,
you
quack.
are. I wouldn't say that they're perfect bullseyes necessarily, but just given that it's, it takes some skill just to manage to embed a dagger in a wooden wall with a throw, and you solidly land both of them relatively near the center of the target, and the orc that stood up just says, "I want to try," and he pulls up a battle axe. Like a great axe, one of the big double-headed ones.
This should be interesting.
I'm gonna kind of slide down to my seat under the table.
And Modesty actually does just for a moment and say,
I'll get my knives first.
it's like, okay, Makta, gentle. You can afford more beer if you don't have to replace my wall. And he kind of just says, "Oh, you see, I'm gonna get the bullseye." And he's gonna roll. And he's rolling at disadvantage because he's wasted. And that's still a 15. So the axe is not designed for throwing. But he does manage to get it relatively near the center, and it doesn't stay embedded in the wall, but it definitely chops it like a gouge into the wall before it clatters to the floor.
Hey, good shot. Makta, is it?
Yeah. I'm Makta. This is Fisk. And Fisk has like barely lifted his head off the table since you guys came in. He scowled at you a little bit when he came in, but that's about it so far.
Name's Alaric. For a hand. As a greeting.
He kind of stares at your hand for a second, kind of confused. And then he sort of just pokes it with his finger.
Customs are probably different here, sorry.
What are you sorry for?
Didn't mean to possibly offend or confuse you. Just trying to introduce myself.
Okay. I like how you turned my beer pink.
You're welcome. It's a little trick I learned along the way.
Can you teach me to do that?
Maybe, in time.
He starts kind of going through his pockets, and then he pulls out an obviously smashed pocket watch.
Yeah?
It's time.
It's time for what?
What?
Oh, no. Later. We'll do this later.
Okay. And he very carefully puts the broken pocket watch back in his pocket. And
Tell me,
then Doka comes over and says, "Hey, watch this." And fire suddenly emerges from his hand and creates a black scorch mark right in the center of the target. See? Told you guys. I'm good with the magic. I can do it.
It wasn't bad.
Very nice.
And then Modesty kind of just looks over and just says, "Do not burn my bar down."
Hey, Doug,
says-
why don't we sit down and we have another beer?
Yeah, okay. And he actually belches and a little bit of fire comes out.
There you go. I think that's the achievement for the evening right there.
He says, "I know lots of fire spells. I can do that one. I could do that like that one. I could do that all day. but like,
Oh, I have one that I could do all day as well, but it usually hurts people, so I don't.
well, what about how about this? And he basically just sort of waves his hands and whispers a word that you're not necessarily familiar with. And all of a sudden, there's just this, like a miniature tornado sort of whirlwind in the air. Like not big, just like, about 3 feet tall, that he just sort of conjures and goes, and it sort of just moves around the room and just rustles, blows everybody's hair, messes a little bit, and it just kind of says, "Neat, right?"
Oh yeah, that one's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah. I can
Use that.
I can do all the elements.
No, my favorite is actually electricity. I love my lightning spells. They're really, really fun.
Modesty, as she pours this third round, does sort of just catch your eye, Alaric, and just say, "You're gonna take care of him, right? Not gonna leave him to throw up in my bar, right?"
We should be able to leave before then.
What
He's almost done.
adventuring party? Of course not.
He's almost done and needed to learn a little bit of lesson, perhaps, or get
Leave no
exposed
man
to
behind.
things easier.
No man,
Well,
yeah, no man
we,
left behind.
We do teach a certain kind of lesson here in this bar.
The eyebrow raises at that one. I see. I suspect that's a little outside of my price range.
Jesus.
Low wisdom, remember? I gotta say stuff like that.
And then she kind of just says, "Well, have to say,
I would like to smack him in the back of the head. Stop it!
I'm you're not really my type. But that said, if you wanted to put in a good word for me with your red friend over there."
Otter King. Yeah.
Huh?
All right.
Yeah, you handsome.
I'll be your Huckleberry.
She kind of turns. She says, "So, are you sticking around in town?
Absolutely.
Where are you staying?"
Well, do you have a room?
As it happens, I do.
Then the night's beginning to shape up.
Doak has pounded the third beer, and he goes, "Hey, watch this!" And he just disappears.
Doke.
Oh no.
Oh, Ring of Truthiness. I'm gonna look around and see if I see him.
You don't.
Oh shit.
Doke.
Not good. Not good.
I'm just gonna start moving around, kind of spreading my arms wide to see if I can run into him in the open space.
Nope.
All right. Damn it,
After-
Doke.
After a few seconds, he actually appears again, standing behind the bar right next to Modesty, and he goes, "Ha!" And then he disappears again.
Damn it. This is why I don't have kids.
You're the one that fed him beer.
I think I figured it would just wear out and pass out. It's easier that way.
You also notice that the orcs seem alarmed by this new development.
Doke, it would be really good of you just to show up right now and stop this.
And he
Have a seat.
he does sort of pop into existence again across the room in a different area, and he says, "I visited the ethereal plane." Mm-hmm.
You didn't. Okay, you're gonna have to sit down and explain that.
Okay, well, if you do it again in this place right now,
He disappears
I'm going to
again.
tell your mothers. Ah,
I don't think he's hearing all of the words.
Dope, don't make me get your mothers involved.
I don't know if he's even here. He says something we're going to
And
something
if you
else.
change plans,
I have sending. I can do this right now. Get his ass in trouble.
You could also send to him. Because I don't think he can hear you from here.
Your table thumps as he appears again underneath it.
Now grab him by the leg.
I would like to reach out with shocking grasp, just
Oh,
to
crap.
give him a little start.
Make an attack roll.
I'm just grabbing his leg. I'm not going to shock and grasp him. He carried.
Needs to clear his head a little bit. Hold on, I gotta find the shocking. Where the hell is it? I can't find my. I can't find the spell. I have it. It's my cantrip. It's not on my
Yeah,
sheet.
well, yeah, it's like sometimes those are because it's the racial trait you get. It
Oh yeah, maybe
always
it's
appear
under
in the same
there.
place.
Trans cantrip. Hold on.
It should
No?
be a spell attack roll though, a melee attack roll. So melee spell attack. So whatever your spell attack thing is.
So spell attacks is +7. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yep,
Okay. All right. Well, that is a 17 plus 7s.
that definitely hits. So roll 1d8 lightning damage.
3.
He
Not really trying to hurt him. Just
Yeah.
knock it off.
You you grab his shoulder and zap him, and he like looks stunned for a second. And he just says, "Ow!" It disappears again.
Knock. Oh. I don't think I have anything that's gonna put him to sleep.
He'll wear out eventually, right?
oh yeah.
And he actually does appear again across the room and just says, "All right, I think I'm done now.
Good idea.
Sorry, that's one of my best spells. I don't want to waste half of it by stopping it early."
Sit
That is
down.
pretty neat, I will say.
Why
But
are you mad? You shocked me. I thought we were having fun.
you're kind of
Uh,
scared
that's-
us, I think.
Just
Oh,
not a
you're
good
not.
idea.
I'm showing you guys what I can do. When I'm in the
Yeah.
ethereal plane, I can move through walls and stuff.
Okay,
Yes.
doing that in a bar full of not sober orc customers is not a good idea. Sit down.
One of the excitable orc stands up and just, "Hey, what's that supposed to mean?"
Well, it just means we're trying to make it a pleasant atmosphere for you to enjoy your beer. You don't need this guy popping in and out all over the place.
I also don't think I need your presumption attitude that we're just ignorant orcs don't understand magic.
I
We
didn't
know.
say that.
Well, what did you imply then? You were saying that he shouldn't do stuff in front of us.
No, I'm saying he's annoying and he needs to stop it.
Okay, make a persuasion roll.
You're rolling in the 20s all night. Let's see this again.
Yeah, this would probably
Right.
be like 2.
Now's the time.
Persuasion is +3. Okay. That is a 15, excuse me.
Okay. He kind of just stares at you for a second. Kind of a sort of one of those burps that he kind of swallows because it seemed like maybe a little bit was going to come up with it. And then he's like, "Oh, okay then." He sits back down.
I think maybe it's time for us to go. Our stuff should be at least somewhat ready.
What? No, this is awesome. Like, we're doing it. We're like the adventurers in the tavern. This is what we do, right?
Yeah. It's exactly what we do. We just generally don't, portal and under the influence.
We do
Well,
it until we're done and then we
technically,
go do something
I'm
else.
not portaling. It's
Okay.
I'm blinking in and out of existence.
Ah,
is what I'm
nice.
doing. Yeah, it's pretty cool, right? I only just
Yeah,
learned how
it's
to
really
do that one just a couple months ago, and it's really cool because I can like go through walls and stuff. Like I said, you know, I'm in the ethereal plane and I can see everything, but it's all gray and cloudy.
Wow. That's awesome.
Should we get another round for the road?
No. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Go ahead and finish
No.
that one.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
We'll be back another time.
All right. Well, you know, like now that we're a party, I'm sure we'll come back to celebrate once we figured out what's going on with the stone giants and all.
Yeah.
And Modesty says, "I knew it." She just kind of is amused and saying, you know, she makes you pay up your tab if you're leaving. And, but she does just sort of glance at you, Autarky, and just says, "You leaving too with these jokers?"
Yeah, I gotta.
We don't need you
watch over.
tonight. You can rest here. We'll pick up your stuff. Don't worry.
The spell.
No, I could use another beer. Yeah, I don't have anywhere to be.
Doke, you said something about some vendors that might be selling some baby Q.
Oh yeah, I was totally gonna take you there, but then like that was Nira. She just cast fog cloud in the middle of the street.
You know what was really, really good with beer? Even cheap beer. Street meat. Let's go.
All right, let's go. And he
Just
just
staying here, Nira?
makes his way
On
outside.
the way out, I would like to whisper in Archie's ear a reminder that he has a protection spell over him that he is going to need to get recharged, so he's on a time schedule here.
Right.
So do what you gotta do, but
So are you staying for now, Archie, or?
Yeah, I'll stay for now and have another drink.
All right. Well, as the rest of the party leaves, let's.
I mean, that's one way to
We're
spend the party.
definitely going to fade to black here. But how about this? Make a charisma roll. Just a straight up charisma check.
can I boop him with guidance on my way out the door?
I don't know if it lasts quite that long.
Do you want her to boop you with guidance?
Sure.
Good luck, soldier.
Make good choices.
Yeah.
He's a grown tiefling. He knows what he's doing. Mostly.
16, respectable.
She is forward and interested, and it goes well. In the meantime, everybody else is going out for street meat.
Yep.
So I think Doke rather excitedly takes you over to a particular vendor where they've got, you know, sauced meats of various types on sticks, and he assures you that it's the best thing you've ever tasted.
Well, it better be.
It's pretty good.
Cool.
It's okay.
Pretty good. Yeah. It's okay.
And
It's
he
all right.
very excitedly encourages you to say, basically to say how great it is. It's like, but it's really good, right?
You know, I can honestly say I've never had anything quite like it.
Well, right, because like you're probably used to just, you know, different spice combinations and stuff. Because
A lot of
different mushrooms.
You know, if you're ever in Villa Nocta and you've got a hankering for something a little hotter, I could probably recommend some places that might burn your face off.
I don't know if he can have his face burned off. He's a
I'm
breathe fire.
I'm resistant to fire damage.
What was that Mugen had me try? It was like a curried something.
Batwing.
Curried batwing. Ugh, man, it was probably some of the worst stuff I've ever had in my life. This is much better than that.
All right, because it's the best.
It's much
It's
better
like-
than the worst thing I've ever had.
And he says, he kind of like takes a minute to track that. Yeah, I think. Wow, you know,
Sorry, I was having a moment of reminiscence, but then I realized that oh wait, Amethyst is here. She would know. I forgot that it's still at Amethyst.
Incidentally, she had beers, and just as has been the practice, she just never shows it at all. But so in any event, we have you guys hanging out around this this little bit of a market area. It takes you to sort of, there's a little area where there's some benches and stuff where you can sit. But then at about that time, you guys that are there see a trio of young people. One a half orc, one a what you gather is an air genasi who has sort of light blue skin, short white hair, and then a green dragonborn. They all seem pretty young, and they actually approach, and Doak just goes, "Hey guys, you're never gonna believe it. I'm gonna go on an adventure. This is my party." Like most of it anyway. Because one of them is back with modesty. And like the other three are just like, "What? Oh, that's awesome. No way. Wait, are you drunk?" He's like,
You're gonna
"Yeah,
introduce
isn't it
your
awesome?"
friends?
Huh? Oh,
Dude.
yeah, like this is, yeah, hang on, just, okay, guys, I have to introduce you now. So, guys, this is Alaric and Nira and Amethyst. And we're gonna go figure out what's going on with the Stone Giants, right? Isn't that...
I wouldn't bother them with too many details. What are your friends' names?
Oh, yeah, Hardy. These are my friends. This is Cool. Points to the half orc. Excuse me.
Half orc.
Half orc. This is Portent, the Genasi, and this is Trella, the Dragonborn. We're friends. Like we've had our own, little adventures, here and there around town. Like they're practice adventures. You might say. But we're gonna do the real deal now. And his friends look a little bit irritated to be described that way.
I clap Doak on the shoulder and look at him with pride. Young Doak here is going to serve as our guide.
And Portent, the Genasi, just kind of says, "Well, he certainly knows his way around town, it seems."
Yeah, that he does.
Just breaking some of the tension. Meeting new people can be difficult.
Well,
So you said her name was Portent, the Genasi?
yeah.
Hmm.
And
That seems ominous.
do you say that?
No. Actually, no, I have the wisdom. Yes, I do say that.
She just says, "Oh, well, I could tell your future if you'd like."
Really?
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. Tell me. You're a Genasi, right? I've not met one of your kind before.
Yeah, me neither. I have to say, I'm very curious.
And then she gets sort of an imperious look at first and just says, "Indeed, am I the first of my race that you have met?" And she starts to like stand in this like sort of trance-like position, and then starts to lift off the ground into the air. She
Just take a
says,
step back.
"Am I not impressive? I have within my heritage the powers of the elements of air." And then she kind of just drops down to her feet. Pretty cool, right?
I clap. That's pretty good.
There's a little bow.
Hey, Doak, you got some pretty interesting friends.
And he kind of leans down to you. "They're cool, but they're not as tough as we are."
I thought the half-orc was cool.
And the cool just says, "Yeah, it's a thing that we started when we were kids. That like he's calling cool, good things cool. because it was a thing originally that he was saying that they were like me, and it was just this, it became a whole thing, and now he uses them interchangeably, and I never know when he's talking to me or not.
Maybe he's always referring to you. Maybe he holds you in that high esteem, don't you, Doke?
Doke says, he's all right.
Seems cool to me.
Trella, the green dragonborn, just kind of says, you know, between all of us standing here, like, he's a total lightweight. You guys see that, right?
You don't say.
And
Everybody needs to know their boundaries.
and Doke's just like, come on, Trella, this won't embarrass me in front of my party.
Too late.
I don't mean to be rude, but you did say something portent about a prediction of my future.
Oh, sure, yeah. You want it? I could use cards, or I could use crystal. Do you have a preferred method? It's all really just flash and pizzazz, you know. But people have preferences, right?
Well, you know, the crystal's more like my home, so I'll take that. I like rocks, after all.
All right then. And she sort of digs into a little pouch at her side and pulls out a fairly impressively large but otherwise mundane quartz crystal that's like the size of her hand. And just kind of says...
Is it well cut? Can I tell?
No, it's actually raw. You know, it's
Okay.
kind of impressive in size and clarity for being it's not like polished or cut. It's harvested in kind of a big chunk. But it does have an area that you can kind of see into that is sort of clear inside. You can see into the interior of it. And so she just says, all right, place your hand on the crystal.
I do so. Nice rock.
Thanks. I use it to tell people's fortunes.
That's what we're here for.
And so she looks down into the crystal. You guys gonna find an ugly ally. Dark games. And a door that needs light. She just kind of, yep, that's what I got today.
So do you see something, or does it come to you as words? How's that work?
Well, I focus on one particular, and she kind of just like shows you, and you can see that in the area where you can sort of see through into the center, there is actually one like really small flaw, like right in the center of it. It's like I use it as kind of just a focus, and then I get it more in like waves of feeling. It's a little hard to describe.
Half imagining I saw a gnome once who had a spherical version of this. He just sort of shook it and looked at the bottom for the answer. Had an infinity symbol on the top. It was magic, I think.
Are gnomes as small as they say?
Depends on who's saying it, but they are pretty small.
They're about, yay high, and I give her a estimate.
And, Trella elbows her and says, come on, you've seen gnomes. It's like, well, I guess, but like, are Eastern gnomes the same as Western gnomes?
I haven't met any Western gnomes yet, so I'm not sure. But probably, pretty sure. I'm a Western dwarf. Do I look like a dwarf that you would recognize?
You look like a dwarf.
Exactly.
I don't, and she suddenly like, was like, I didn't mean to be dismissive there. I just...
Oh no, I look like a dwarf. I'd be rather confused if I looked like something else. I take my hand away from the crystal now.
Okay.
But I use my other hand to slide a silver into her palm and try to do it subtly.
Okay. She kind of looks a little surprised and kind of shrugs, puts it in her pocket.
Okay.
And at this point, I think shoot, what was I just gonna... I lost my train of thought there. I think Doak starts to interrupt and then loses his train of thought is what happened there. Like, wait, you guys, wait a minute.
Wait.
I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, I'm pretty sure it was going to be apologizing to your friends here as we have to go and do some more errands.
And at that point, Cool just kind of shrugs and just says, we've known each other since we're little kids. So, are you guys really all going up to see the Stone Giants? Doak's like,
We
yeah,
are.
totally we are. We're going to find out what's going on. We're going to deliver a big magical thing, and it's going to be awesome. We're going to have an adventure where we're going to find Deke and save him. And
we'll see when we get there. We don't really know what to expect, so a lot of this is exploratory, let's say.
Dwarf's gonna see a mountain. Just happens.
And Trella just kind of says, guys, maybe go have him lie down first before you go.
Oh yeah, we're not going immediately.
Well, and they seem actually a little bit sincere when they kind of pull Doak aside and just kind of they whisper a little bit. And you see them sort of talking amongst themselves, but you would guess that there is, although they rib each other, there's an element here where they're actually really kind of excited for him actually getting to go on a cool adventure.
Yep.
Yeah.
I want to leave them with some assurance that we aren't going to just hang them out to dry.
And Doak just kind of says, yeah, well, see, that's the thing. That's why an adventurer needs a party. And, we have each other's backs.
So, question, can I use any of my spells to make him less drunk? Like, would Cure Wounds or Healing Word sober him up at all?
Lesser restoration.
Lesser Restoration would do it.
Lesser Restoration? Okay.
Archie could actually also do it with his lay on hands if he was there.
He's laying his hands somewhere else right now.
Yeah, laying his hands somewhere.
All right, so I am going to cast Lesser Restoration on Doak because I'm a little concerned his mothers are not going to be happy.
Probably a better solution than I had in mind.
All right. So you go ahead and you cast that on him, and he just kind of, his eyes sort of clear, and he's like, that's awesome! Wow. Wow. That's, like, is that what spirit magic does?
Oh, that's part of it.
It kind of feels like a cheat to me. How's he ever going to learn
Not
that?
any more of a cheat than using prestidigitation to make beer taste better.
Hey, that was just a harmless trick. I was trying to teach the boy a lesson.
Wait, what?
You got to learn to hold your liquor and not just drink as much as everyone else does.
I
Unless
think
you're a dwarf.
maybe we should leave the lessons to his parents.
He's going to be
Just-
traveling with us. You better learn a thing or two.
So, like, we don't have to, like, tell them everything, right? I mean, we're having an adventure together. We're allies, right? We don't, like, some of this is for us, right?
Well, I know, but we have to go home today
Well, yeah.
and present you to your parents.
Well, yeah. So, yeah.
We'll just keep this between us.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I had a really good time, you guys. Wait.
Well, I'm
and
glad.
then he's suddenly just, like, looking around like, Archie really did stay with Modesty, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
You know what they
Well,
say, modesty knows no bounds.
I hope that you're not going to have to use a couple of your spells on him afterwards.
I think he can take care of that himself.
Okay. She's
That's
pretty
not
cool,
ominous at
actually.
all.
In fact, I think at this point he's immune to disease.
You know, I don't mean to like judge or anything. I think Modesty is cool. I just like she's
You know, modesty is its own reward.
Have you met your quota yet there, Mark?
There is no limit. There may be a quota, but there is no limit.
So he kind of looks up at the sky and just says, "Yeah, so probably your, your leather, Alaric, would probably be ready."
Yeah, I hope Archie remembers that he has armor to pick up at some point.
He'll remember eventually. He'll be feeling rather naked.
Yeah. So Archie, I'm gonna have you make a wisdom saving throw to see how soon you remember.
That's going to be
All right.
concentration. See just how. Concentrate.
I do pretty good at saving throws. So hey.
Actually, I'm gonna just say a check, not a
Oops.
saving throw. Not a saving throw, just a check. So your wisdom modifier.
Gotcha. Which makes it a 6.
You're kept pretty busy. And no one communicated anything to Modesty about there being any kind of a time limit. So,
Nope.
so I would say the rest of you are still Archie-less then for now. I would say unless you want to role play more conversation, you can just go ahead and go pick up your armor, Alaric. And
I do
then-
want to pick up a bracer for the knives as well, basically so I
Okay.
can draw them and throw them easily.
Yeah, I'll say you can have that for another 1 gold. A
Sure.
little bracer that holds them in a convenient place.
Sounds good.
All right. So at this point, Doak is starting to look a little bit uncomfortable because he's just realizing, like, I just remembered, you're not supposed to split the party, right? Is that? Is this okay?
I mean, there are private moments that are best done alone.
Yeah, we don't need to be there for this. It's okay.
I mean, you probably shouldn't watch me pee.
Well,
Just
no, I
creepy.
mean it's not that. I don't know. What do we do now?
You could check in one if you really want to, Nirikina.
I mean, I could send him. Oh, hold on. Yeah, okay, I still have those spell slots. I could use sending to send him a message, but I feel like. Okay, so how long has it been? Like, at what
I
time
would
is
say
it?
At this point, it's probably like maybe 3 or 4 in the afternoon.
Let's maybe. What time does the sun set? Here.
It's gonna be like 7.
Okay. Let's give him until after dinner and then send him a reminder.
All right. So, what else would you guys want to do in town?
Potions.
No, we're doing that at
Oh, right.
the place.
Price might be higher there.
No, I don't want to get mobbed by beggars again. So I was like, I could go back to the park and meditate. No, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, and speaking of which, if you're going to do much traveling around town, I'm going to need you to make stealth rolls.
I wouldn't mind if Doak showed us the richer side of town,
Okay.
just to get a sense of it. And actually, if there's also any kind of job board here.
Okay. Yeah, there is, he says, there is a job board and there is going to be some things on it, but lots of times, anything that's really going to be worth doing, there's just so many mercenaries in town that they kind of get taken up pretty fast. So lots of times you kind of have to just hang out at the job board and wait for something to get posted, because stuff doesn't stay on there very long. But he does say, let's see, he does say that there is a part of town that's kind of nicer and wealthier, but the really big fancy places are more like outside of the town center.
Well, I mean, we got time. We could just take a walk.
Yeah. Get a lay of the land.
My stealth roll was a 12, by the way.
Got my bonus at 12.
Well, good for you.
All right. So I think that as you guys are, making your way across town, you actually do hear a little bit of a commotion behind you, and then you see what looks like a crowd of people rushing your way, just kind of saying, and that they're all sort of like individually saying, please, please, help, if you could just spare a few copper, I'm very sick. And lots of that sort of thing. And actually, over the crowd and kind of off to one side, Nira, you actually hear a male voice in Elvish say, "My lady, if I could have a moment of your time."
Can I see him? Like, kind of poke my head up? Who
Yeah,
said
I
that?
think, as you're looking around, go ahead and make a perception check.
Okay. Switch back over this. And that's right. I've got a. Well, that's only a 10. Damn it.
Yeah, well, that a 10 is enough, because this is you're looking specifically for.
He's not hiding from me either, so.
Right. Yeah, and you actually spot another high elf, and he is kind of struggling to get to you, given that you've got basically a crowd of people trying to pursue you and surround you. So, are you guys trying to flee them or what?
Okay, you know what? I've had enough of this, and I am going to cast Gust of Wind and blow these. Because I don't care.
Gonna huff,
Bye!
gonna puff, and they're all gonna fall down.
I think
So
Amethyst
I'm gonna kind of catch his eye and be like, eh.
So, like, how are you going to get them and not him?
Yeah, that's the question, but
The answer is you are not.
yeah.
High elves are not vulnerable to insults, so he'll be fine.
I think probably actually, I would imagine Amethyst gives you a look at you using this magic spell to.
This is your
pull these
fault.
people away. And she just kind of says, "There are people who need help. We can't help everybody, but you don't have
Exactly.
to be mean to them." Anyway, and as a lot of them do look like they're a little bit more like cowed by this display. Have you made eye contact or said anything to this high elf though?
Let's say you. I want to talk to you. in Elvish, to say something like "get around them" or something.
And he kind of straightens up. He has a smile, and as he's kind of standing up from getting blown over by this gust of wind, he sort of. You can see that he's got a little bit of a dirty scuff on his pants that he waves a hand at, and the dust sort of just, drifts away, and he's cleaning. And you see his clothes are not fancy; they're pretty modest, but clean. And you've also just seen him demonstrate that he is magically able to clean them. And he approaches and just says, yes, thank you. I just saw a fellow high elf here in these distant lands so far from home, and I had hoped that you would be able to spare me just a moment of your time and perhaps to help a fellow high elf restore some lost dignity.
What is it exactly that you need?
Well,
But first of all, who are you?
Yes, well, my name is Terillin. And who might you be, my lady?
My name is Nira Kina. You may call me Nira.
You're having this whole conversation in Elvish, by the way, so I would think that everyone else might be curious. But, so, in any event, he just says, yes, and, I do wonder what brings you to these distant lands so far from home.
No, it's a very, very long story. Really, I don't honestly have the time to tell you the whole long story. But yeah, it's complicated.
So, if time is short, then I would simply ask that you take a moment to hear my current conundrum, which is that I, here in these distant lands, have made a life for myself, such as it is. So, distant to our homeland, but modest and proud in its own way. And I have made a place for myself here as a simple merchant, but it is, compared to home, as I'm sure you have noticed, a very lawless place, and I could not afford to hire private security, and I'm afraid that my wares were stolen, and I wonder if such a capable high elf as you would see it in your heart to help me recover my wares. I would be ever so grateful.
Whereabouts are you from exactly? Originally.
He's still speaking in Elvish, but kind of just eyes your companions and just says, "Believe the same place as you, my lady."
All right. Exactly what is it was stolen? How much stuff are we talking about?
Oh, well, it's fairly simple goods, some clothing, some just personal possessions, some fine silver, and just ordinary sorts of simple wares that any passerby might need or spy and purchase from me. But it was all stolen from me. I cannot afford a wagon that can be locked. I merely spread out my goods, as you see many of the vendors here do, and I was called away, and the lad I asked to guard my wares ran off with them instead.
So then you know who took your things.
I do.
All right. Well, I should probably discuss this with my companions before I agree to anything, of course.
You defer to your companions? They're not your servants?
Oh, no, you misunderstand.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean to presume. It has been so long since I have seen the snowy peaks of our homeland, and I do apologize if I have mistaken some aspect of your situation.
No offense was taken. Well, I'm sure if they could understand this conversation, they might, but we don't have to tell them. These are my friends, and we're actually missing one at the moment. He's busy. But we all have different strengths that we bring to the table. But I am
finding common cause.
Exactly. So maybe we could sit and discuss all of this, maybe away from the crowds.
Yes, I believe that would be a good idea. And do you need a guide around these parts? And I think at this point, Doak is I think everyone is probably still just listening to you guys have this conversation in Elvish.
Actually, Doak here is a local new friend of ours, and an ally as well. But so we're not in need of a guide. He's filling that role for us, and but yeah, and I will
a little bit wary at your mention of Doak, just like a little bit like he's disappointed to hear that.
Anyway, but yes, we can discuss this. Friends, and I will speak in common. This gentleman has had his things taken by someone who he had hired to keep them safe, and he would like to know if we could possibly help him.
I am at your mercy.
Sounds like a simple job, depending on who took them, of course.
What do the thieves look like?
Well, it is only the one that stole my wares, but I don't know who he might have taken them to.
Oh, you know who did it?
Yes.
Even easier. I'll
And,
switch to Coatoan.
Certainly no one who is capable of providing any real threat to those as capable as you.
I switched to Coatoan. And say to Nirikina, is this guy on the level?
I honestly, and so in Koto, and I will speak back to him. I honestly have no idea. I think he might be kind of due to these parts. He still has some very ingrained ideas which is not unlike people back home. So I'm inclined to believe him, but I don't know this man at all. But Amethyst, I know that you may not have liked the way I treated those people just now, so I could do this to make up for that. I'm sorry.
What are we going to charge him?
I don't think he has any money. That's the problem. He doesn't seem to. He had a look when I mentioned Doak was our guide, so I don't know about this job.
I think at this point,
charity
for
case
you, that Doak was listening to you and Tyrillin have this conversation in Elvish, and now all of you having this conversation in Koatoan, and he's kind of just standing there like.
See, I wonder. I don't know what else Doak speaks. Like, I know he speaks the Stone Giants language, and I know he speaks Common.
For all we know, he speaks all the languages.
Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah.
Should be Draconic, Dragonborn.
Because I have Dwarven, Sylvan, Goblin, Elvish, and Common. So that's what I've got.
You also don't know what this other high elf speaks.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's one of the reasons I chose Coatoan, though. It's unlikely. It's one of those ones that so few people that although I can switch to Dwarven if you like. I will switch back to Common, put the little slider switch back to Common, and then walk up to the elf who's probably going to tower over me and look up at him. So you lost some stuff. All right.
Indeed I did.
How much stuff?
Well,
a lot of stuff.
It was a meager amount, as these things go. It was enough to be bundled up in a single blanket.
That doesn't sound like a lot of stuff. Is that all your stuff?
It is. My business is a work in progress and interrupted at present.
How much did you say the stuff was worth?
He kind of gets a look and he's like, I think all told, perhaps 65 gold.
I kind of look over at Nirikina. It's like, really?
I understand that, for well-traveled individuals such as all of you, I'm sure that this is a paltry sum, but it is, in fact, all I have to me.
Can I insight check him?
Yeah.
Seems shifty to me, but that might be because he's an elf. I got a 7.
You already thought y'all were my
7?
servant.
Yeah, you have no idea.
All right.
He talks fancy.
I'm looking to Nirikina to make the decision. Or Amethyst if she's...
So I would, in Elvish, I said, what is your family name?
It is Patha, which is a name that you are aware of as a family. Like, that is a name that is like a recognizable name, but not like you don't know every single person, but it is.
Right.
Hey, you're an elf. Do you know this other elf?
Well, because Nira's grandmother had she was like on the council and stuff, so she knew people. So, but anyway.
Actually, I'll have you go ahead and make a history check.
Go back to my sheet. History is +7, so that is a 16.
You vaguely recall that this family is not one of the better regarded families in Farushab, but you don't really recall why that was supposed to be. It wasn't like a new situation.
Yeah. All right. So, because Nira has a soft spot for elves, she doesn't trust this guy, but it's an elf. So, in Kotoan, I will say to my companions, I'd like to help him, but I will understand if you say no.
I got time to kill.
So I think Amethyst is kind of probably would, at this point, I'm guessing, would be thinking like, of all the people we could help, you're picking the high elf who actually looks relatively well dressed instead of the people who are actually in rags. You wanted to criticize me for giving 1 gold piece to one person who really needed it, but okay.
All right, look. We'll help you to a point. I don't know how much trouble this is going to be.
Well,
but we have a little bit of time, and sure.
That should be all that this requires, my lady.
All right. So, where do we go? Where do we start?
Well, I know that there is a particular place where thieves such as him would be likely to take such ill-gotten gains, and I believe we could find him there if you will accompany me.
I'm gonna switch the cloak over to be a tattered, worn, ragged, brown, stained, ugly cloak with a hood.
And I think at this point, Doak is like, wait, what? What? And he's looking at you. What are you doing?
We're going to help keep someone out of Beggar's Row.
Okay.
This is what we do. This is what we do. You want to be an adventurer? This is what we do.
That immediately convinces him, and he's 100% on board now.
The magic words now.
All right. So are you following this high elf then?
I'm gonna move off to the shadows and be following along that way, trying to keep him.
Yeah, I'm going to remain on alert, but relaxed, following him.
Okay. And so he's leading you, oddly enough, in the general direction of where Moderation, the bar, was. Not to it, but in approximately the same neighborhood, which definitely feels kind of like not a great neighborhood. And then he stops you about a block up from kind of a rundown, boarded up looking house, and he just kind of says, I believe that we will find the thief in there, but I must warn you, you being strangers to this place, and I am sure your noble nature, my lady, would not always leap to assuming the worst of people, but I suspect that when confronted with his crimes, he will attempt to deny that he was in fact the thief. He will attempt to evade the truth and the righteous justice. So I just warn you to not listen to his deceptions.
All right. Thank you for the advice.
So he kind of just points at the house and just says, I believe he will be in there.
Are you coming with us?
Well, I don't know how you normally approach these matters. I don't want to interfere with your methods. I can accompany you if you wish. I just do not know how you would prefer to approach such a situation.
Mm. Where's Alaric? Where are you at, Alaric?
I'm trying to keep myself hidden and watching all of this stuff. Has he given us a description or name or anything?
Not yet.
Okay.
You haven't asked.
All right, so tell me about this kid who took your stuff. What does he look like? What's his name?
Well, he's human. He's skinny. He was wearing a dark vest over a red tunic when he stole my goods just earlier today. And his name is Devon, and at least that's the name he told me when he offered to watch my things, and I offered him 3 silver to watch them, and then he ran off with them.
All right.
I'll jump in as Amethyst. Well, we're doing a favor. I think maybe we should stand in as Muscle. And you can approach the young man, and if there's any problems, then we'll address it. But, maybe you just go in there and ask for your stuff back.
Yes,
Yeah.
well, if that is this the strategy you propose, my lady?
Well, if we can avoid a fight, that would be wonderful.
Well, of course. I wish no violence. I mean, I do confess my heart would wish for justice in this case, but at the very least, I would just like my goods back.
We'll see what we can do.
right.
After you.
And he looks a little bit nervous, but he just
Pretend like you're in charge.
of course, yes. I will I will do my best to use your inspiration to recall the station that I once held, and to convey a demeanor of authority. And
Sounds
kind
good.
of straightens up.
Seeing they go into that building, like try to case it to see if I can see any other exits that probably anybody fleeing is going to take.
Okay. Make an investigation check.
5.
It looks mostly boarded up.
Okay.
So, like, most of the normal, like, entrances and windows are boarded up, but there's at least one door that is not, boarded up from the outside. It might be locked, but he approaches and he just knocks on the door. And there's no answer, and then he knocks on the door again and says, "Devon, I have come for my things, and you had better return them at once, and then we can make an end of this." There's no answer. She says, "I know he's in there.
All right.
He's probably hiding. He knows what he's done."
All right. What's it gonna take to kick the door? Can I just open the door? Is it locked?
It is locked. It doesn't look like a terribly sturdy door. It's just kind of a standard wooden house door.
All right. So I'm going to take out my warhammer, kind of twirl it a bit. Bam!
All right. Yeah, the door just immediately.
Subtly, we don't has it.
Yeah.
Knock, knock.
Clatters in, and you see in the darkness that there are actually sort of 3 figures that were kind of seated around something on the floor, and they kind of jump up and sort of scatter to the corners with alarm at this. And Terillin kind of just comes in and says, "Yes, remember me? Remember those things you stole from me? We have come to take them back. And as you can see, I have backup this time." And all of these figures are going to try to run for it, but they are Well, okay, I guess they can't really, because there's not any other entrance. So, one of them does duck through a hole in one of the walls that's in this room, going to another room, presumably in the same house. But the other two are more or less cornered. Are you guys entering, or are you still standing in the doorway, or what?
Oh, kind of. I'm gonna stay in the doorway so they can't get out.
All right. It's pretty dark inside there, but make a perception check.
22.
All right. You can see that there is, in fact, on the floor in the middle of this room, there is a blanket that does seem to be, it's unfolded, and there's sort of a pile of miscellaneous stuff on it. It looks like there is some silverware. There is some like clothing and various just like knickknacks and stuff like that.
All right. Can I see the two people that are in here? Can I?
Yeah. You didn't get a good look at whoever it was that ducked through a hole in the wall, but the two that are in here, one of them is actually they're both human. One of them does meet the description of Tyrillin's description of Devon.
All right. So I'm gonna look at.
He looks like
him.
he's maybe 17.
All right. So I'm gonna look at him. I'll say, "Do you have anything to say?"
And he kind of he looks at all of you and then looks at Tyrillin with just like a venomous look, like he's just furious, and he just says, "I ain't saying nothing."
This is your chance. If you have anything that you think we need to know, you should say it.
He basically he glares at Tyrillin again, but he's just like got his jaw set.
So we can just take these things and you don't have anything to say about that.
Looks like we don't have much choice in the matter.
You have all the choice in the world. You just have to speak to me.
You come in bashing our door down.
Well, you didn't answer when we knocked and we had business.
Is that how you conduct all your business? Go smash people's doors down if they don't want to talk to you?
Sometimes, yeah.
So, what if I still don't want to talk to you? You gonna smash me down next?
Not if I don't have to. I'd prefer not
Nobody's
to.
making you do anything.
Exactly. Nobody's making me do anything.
And Tyrillin just says, "I'm taking all of these goods now, the ones that I paid you to watch for me, and you stole like a common thief."
I can't use my Verity ring because I already used it.
I mean, you can make an insight check.
I feel like there is more going on here, and I don't like this.
Use insight. Boop yourself and use insight.
Okay, I'm going to boot myself and make an insight check
On who?
on the elf.
Okay.
So let's see, what is that? Rolling with advantage? Is that what that is? Guidance.
No, it's a
D4.
plus D4.
Plus a d4. Okay. So insight is +7. So that's 16 plus a d4. And another 4, so that's 20.
You get the impression that what he's saying is sort of very performative. Like he's making sort of a show of being very clear. This is the situation right now. And you get the impression that he is declaring it to be so more than it feels a little false.
Just hold on there. One moment.
Yes, my lady?
I really dislike when people lie to me.
Well, perfectly understandable, my lady.
And I just feel like there is something about this situation that I just don't fully understand. And I'm just not comfortable with not knowing.
Well, is
I mean,
it
you-
not
you-
exactly
you-
as I described it? My lady, here are my goods as I described them. The thief as I described him.
But is it...
Is it not?
So, what about the other figure that's in the one that's not Devon?
He is been basically sort of huddling in the corner, hoping nobody pays any attention to him. That's essentially your read on him, is that he is trying to stay out of this whole thing if he can.
All right. I am going to leave the doorway,
Okay.
and I am going to approach this other person. And is he like he, she? What is this another?
Yeah,
Okay,
he
yeah.
looks
Then
of a similar age to Devon.
is he standing,
Yeah.
crouching?
Standing.
Okay.
But wary.
All right.
I mean, you know, even if nothing else, you did startle him pretty significantly by smashing his door in. Or the
All
door
right.
of the place he was in.
Trying to think if there's anything that I can do. I'm going to hold up one gold piece. If there is anything you think I need to know, you should tell me.
I think at this point, Devon kind of blinks and just says, well, he's lying to you, ma'am. Yeah. Did he say I stole this stuff? No. I didn't steal this stuff. This was my stuff, and he just wanted it. So he probably talked you into it just because you're another elf. He thought you were a soft touch. And Torillon is just kind of turns to you and just says, my lady, surely you do not believe that such a tawdry ploy.
You know, I know your family name, but I can't quite place why.
Well, I would be happy to tell you all about it, but it is a story longer than I think that is easily conveyable here in a fraught situation such as this one.
To my companions, y'all have any input here? Anybody want to step in? Am I just in this mess by myself?
I'm outside making sure someone doesn't run away. So.
I think actually, after a while, Alaric, you do see that some of the boards on one window turn out to be less nailed than they would have initially have appeared to be. Like there's some nails in them that apparently don't actually penetrate the stuff behind it, and they start to lift, and you see what looks like a figure starting to try to climb out a window from one of the other rooms.
Does it look like the person that we were told? Actually, I don't know who that is, right? It wasn't read the description.
Didn't you get the...
Yeah, it would have been in common because it was on the street just outside the house.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
you heard the description, and
Okay.
the clothing is not the same, but otherwise similar.
Similar or the same?
Well,
Can
it
I
is a
tell?
human.
They all look the same to me. I know.
Well, I just mean he didn't get all that specific in terms of what
Okay.
the human looked like. He said a human, and that, you know, describes the clothing, and it's not the right clothing.
Okay. I'll make my way over there quickly if I can.
Okay. Go ahead and roll another stealth check for me.
These new boots, I can't figure out how to move in them. That's in that one.
Nat one, huh?
Yeah.
I think, as you like hop down from a roof, super stealthy, it turns out there's a cat there, and you land on its tail, and it runs off. And so immediately this figure turns and looks at you, horrified, and throws a rock at you. And gets a 17.
That's a hit.
Yeah, so let's see. That's going to just be 3 bludgeoning damage, and then this figure is trying to run away.
That's like more than I do with my dagger. Now I'm going to give chase.
Okay. Let's see. So he's Make. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Make a perception check to try to continue pursuing him as he's ducking around the corners.
18.
18. Yep, you're able to keep up with him, but he's pretty fast. Faster than you generally, so I think he's going to try to start pulling away unless you can do something to catch up with
I
him more quickly.
can run faster than he can because I can use my bonus actions to dash as well.
Okay,
So I can
well,
move
but
3 times.
oh, you're right. Yes. Okay, so yes, if you do that, then you are able to run him down.
All
and-
out sprint.
Are you what are you doing as you catch up to him?
See if I can grab.
Okay, yeah, make an athletics check to try to grapple.
Okay. 21.
This is one of those complicated ones because it's where I decide. He rolled a natural 20, but he's got no modifier, so technically 21 is higher, and I think that's still how I'll rule it. So like a 20 is not an automatic success if the other number is actually higher than 20 is my ruling. So yeah, you are able to grapple him. He's actually pretty wiry and harder to hold on to than you might have expected initially, but you are able to hold him.
Yeah. I'm just going to pull him in close and basically speak into his ear. Why are you running away?
Who are you?
There was somebody who had some stolen goods. Did you take them? Is that why you're running away?
Maybe.
What's your name?
Edwin.
Well, Edwin, we're going to go back. If you did it, then that stuff will be taken back and maybe someone will see to you. If you didn't do it, I don't care.
He's looking at you like you're crazy.
I've had people look at me worse. So let's go back, shall we?
What? Who are you? Are you a merc?
Today, yeah. I still have the ratty looking cloak on.
Look, man, I don't have any of it on me. Just let me go. Let me just get out of here. And if you want the stuff, take the stuff. I don't care.
What happened? Tell me your version of the story. I'm curious.
Well, we just had all the stuff and we've been taken.
It's not good to
We're
steal from
dividing
people.
it up. We're going to fence it.
Who are you going to fence it to?
You know, whoever will buy.
There's a lot of people who buy stuff like that.
Well, sure.
Whereabouts?
The bazaar?
Isn't that where you took it from in the first place?
Well, yeah.
Doesn't seem very smart to try to sell it back in the same place you took it from.
Well, not from the same person.
Does that sort of thing happen a lot here?
He looks at you again like you're crazy, like, duh.
I'm new here.
Well, obviously. Look, man, look, I don't want any trouble. Just, I don't want to. I'm sorry I threw a rock at you. I just, you scared me, man.
Yeah, the rock hurt a little bit, but I'm going to be all right.
Look, I just, you can have all the stuff. I don't care what you do with it. Just let me go.
Empty your pockets.
He empties his pockets and he's got like 4 copper. That's it.
All right. Edwin, right?
Yeah.
Try not to steal from people who might get you killed.
That seems like good advice.
Now get out of here.
If you release him, he runs off down the alley.
Oh, you forgot your copper. Never mind. I'll pick it up.
All right. So
More.
in the meantime, back in the house, Nira, you're still suspicious of this whole thing, but Torillon has basically just offered like he's happy to tell you the story, but it just seems like a bad timing.
You know what? So he said all of this stuff was worth, what, 65 silver? Is that what he said?
65 gold is what he said.
Oh, 65 gold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't have that much, so it's like, oh, I'll just pay that, you know? No. I don't know. What did you get me into? What did I get myself into? Amethyst, thoughts? I don't want to beat these boys up.
Yeah, I think Amethyst is at this point just kind of like, this was all you. I would have, probably, I would also say don't beat them up. And I think Terillin just says, nobody has to be beaten. Here are my things. I just will take them and we'll be on our way.
Fine, take your things.
He immediately kneels down and starts bundling everything back up into the blanket, and kind of pretty haphazardly getting everything to try to just get it all fast. And then he wraps it all up and he sort of has it in a bundle over his shoulder and just says, "You've done a great justice this day to a fellow night elf and helped me to restore a little bit of my lost dignity, my lady. I would be happy to share my family story with you if you like."
Maybe some other time.
As you like, my lady. Will you be in town long?
Not too terribly long, but I'll be around.
Well, is there a way perhaps that I could contact you? Or you could contact me?
If you need to get a hold of me, send word to, Carrot and Stick.
Ah, yes, of course. A business that I am not surprised to hear that you frequent. It is a place of many enchanted things, as would befit a lady of your station.
All right, bye. I'm sure you have to go and, put your thing away, so.
Yeah, he runs off with his blanket. And are you still in that house, or did you leave it?
I'm still here.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna look at these two.
They're pretty sulky.
Yeah. He didn't really steal that stuff from you, did he?
Well, he did just now.
I have a feeling those goods are not first-hand goods that he has anyway. But for your trouble, I'll give them each a gold coin. Replace the door.
They kind of accept it, and you get the feeling that there's sort of a warring emotion on their face, sort of in the sense of they just lost way more than that, but 10 seconds ago they thought you were going to beat them up. So call it a win.
That's the best I can do because I don't know.
Call it a win. Just don't call it an Ed win. Because
all right, let's go.
All right.
I'm tired. Something about that dude. I just don't.
I think Doak will just kind of say, "That's why I usually just keep walking."
Yeah.
So you guys are coming out of the house?
Yeah, I would
Okay,
imagine
dissatisfied?
Alarc's coming back at about that point, seeing that they're coming out. This other high elf is nowhere to be seen.
One of them tried to get away, but I
Yeah,
don't know if it was one of the ones that was involved or not.
It's fine. Oh, well, I don't know if it's fine, but it's something. So
Did
nobody died.
Well, yeah, I hope not. Kind of. Kid did hit me with a rock, mind you, but
Well, I did sort of shatter their door, so even.
I don't know. Is it like a door-shattering wound in my head?
I don't know. Let me see. I can cast. Let me cast. What is it? Cure wounds? Is that what it would be?
Yeah, well, that or healing word if you have either of those learned.
Yeah. Well, I have both of them.
Just
So.
give me a minute first. I'm gonna go in, kind of push the door aside.
Okay.
Are they still in there?
I think yeah, those two guys were sort of talking to each other about, like, presumably discussing the events of the last few minutes, and then they see the door open again, and they're just like, now what?
Does one look like it's wearing the right clothes this time, at least?
Yes.
Okay. You must be Devon. You know Edwin? About yay tall.
You didn't hurt him,
Looks-
did you?
No, a little bugger hit me with a rock. But he dropped this, and I throw the 4 copper. Or actually put it in his hand. He dropped this and ran.
Okay, thanks. I'll make sure he gets it.
Yeah. And if you're going to sell stuff, don't sell it across the other side of the market. That seems stupid. Just turn and walk away.
And they're just, you've got dumbfounded looks on their faces.
Again, another one of the check marks for the day.
All right.
All right.
So what time would it be about now?
I think, yeah, you've maybe killed another hour and a half or so.
Okay, well, I'm going to send a message using sending to Archie to say, so if you're not busy, you have armor to pick up.
Also, I would say you guys know that since the last time you got non-detection cast on you, it's probably time to be heading on back to connect with that. You're going to start giving Melicanth anxiety.
It's nice to give it to someone else for a while for change.
Well, it's also true that if she doesn't cast it on you again in time, it's the
Open season.
We'll know where
Yeah.
you are again. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that's a pumpkin I don't want to turn into.
so I would say that if it's time, then
I would
you would bid a friendly goodbye to Modesty.
Yes.
Who is not so much.
And head back for the armor and the charming.
So we'll go ahead and say you pick up your armor, and we'll say you reunite and decide to head on back to the mansion and to Carrot and Sticks and all that good stuff. So, and I think we'll probably leave it there for tonight.
So Paulette said, at least this proves you guys aren't murder hobos.
I was really interested to see how you guys are going to handle that whole thing.
I still don't know if I made the right decision.
Isn't
Shouldn't
that
be
like
making
real
decisions.
life sometimes?
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
Nira should not be the one making decisions.
All right. Well, so thank you everybody for listening and or watching, and especially thank you to those of you watching us live. If you are watching or listening this later and want to know when to watch it live, usually we're playing this campaign on Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Twitch. And you can still, of course, watch it on YouTube later or listen to the podcast version, and we love that too. But in the meantime, we'll be back next time for more adventure on
So many levels.
Levels.